Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are... Welcome to the Hangout here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola, Steve Whyno from the Associated Press and Zachticum.
Yeah, I'm sliding in.
Bellsy, if you're on your way, hurry up. I'm kidding. Be safe out there.
Zachticum's keeping the seat warm for you. So
Yeah, Zachticum was great yesterday on the Oil Stream post-game show presented by GCL Diesel. We're back, baby, and this is going to be a fun hangout. Of course, the hangout brought to you by 2 Hoots Hard Iced Tea once an hour. We're going to have you take a shot. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. A Boulder Real Brewed tea. Don't give a hoot, give 2. You like that?
love that.
I like. All right,
Love
That's
that.
the best
Good,
saying.
good. We just got a fresh box of 2 Hoots. Awanik always drinks 2 Hoots on the show. Doesn't matter how early in the show it is.
It is 9 a.m., right?
It is 9 a.m.
Okay.
I've offered you a beer. I just discovered.
and I've turned down a beer.
You've turned down
which
a
says
beer.
a lot.
Yeah, that's true. You're a beer snob. You've had your first 6 o'clocker lagers.
And very much enjoyed it.
Thank you. Excellent. Over at
I need my
Hudson's.
coffee first, though. Like, this is
We're having coffee. Yeah.
we're a good 5 or 6 hours away from beer time, from beer o'clock.
Well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
There you go. See, Zachticum's learning quickly.
Yeah.
I love it. Text us via the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. Zachticum is a jack of all trades today. No Matthew Awanik. He's on his way to Atlanta to Copa America. He's going to go see Canada versus Argentina in
I
Atlanta.
hope he had a good trip. He was on the red eye last night.
He was on
right?
the red eye last night, and
Yeah.
he's been helping Zachticum already. That's just how Awanik is. And I have all these liners here, and I've got all these liners here. He lays it out very nicely, and then hopefully everything goes smoothly. I think we're off to a good start.
You have no work to do at all. You're just talking.
Yeah, I just talk for 2 hours. So I'm glad, Whyno, that you made it in for the hangout, because yesterday we were going to get you in for the hangout.
It didn't work out so well.
It didn't work out so well. I don't know what Zachticum's doing, but are you okay? Do you have it figured out? Oh, boy. Okay, so we're on the air. It's all good. Yeah. Yeah, it's all working. So Whyno was supposed to be here yesterday. I kind of forced you into it, so my bad.
Well, it's okay. Well, now I'm in. Now I'm
Now
in.
you're
Now,
here.
now
Now
I'm
you're
in.
here.
I mean, Chris Knobloch talked to us at 7 o'clock local time.
That's right.
This morning, so
Yes.
I was very much in the mode to talk already.
Yeah. So you're up and running. You bought the coffee. That's great. We're off and running. Bellsy, I don't know where he is. Hopefully he's coming in, but Zachta comes in for him the day after Edmonton forces a 6th game. Absolutely incredible. You and I were talking on the way in while we were listening to the Nielsen show about Connor McDavid and the Conn Smythe Trophy, how everybody's making their way back from Florida to here.
Not easy.
Not easy.
Not easy.
And he's trying to figure out how to get to Florida for Game 7, if there is one. What are our options right now?
There's
Steve?
an
You gotta hear
option.
this.
There's an option that involves a bus to Calgary, a flight to Charlotte, and then a flight to Palm Beach that gets in at like 12:15 a.m. So when we're talking about, when everyone's complaining about the travel days in the series and all of that, like there's a reason why there's extra days baked into the schedule, because other than the teams with the charter getting there, everyone else dealing with the series has a complete nightmare getting to and from these cities. There are
Like
no
I can
direct
imagine.
flights.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I think, what was it? Greg Wyshynski was on the morning show. He was saying that he had to fly all the way to Detroit and then take another flight somewhere else and then another flight from there as
Two
well.
connections. Yeah,
Yeah.
Greg actually needs to do his laundry at my Airbnb here. I'm getting texts from all my colleagues about I rented Airbnb rather than a hotel here because it was insanely cheap and I was going to stay for 11 days. Turns out I am staying 11 days because there is a Game 6, and now everyone's saying I'm bringing laundry detergent. I need to do my laundry, and so having a party, bring a beer. Everybody needs to do their laundry on their way back to Edmonton. I've got a place.
I've christened him an Edmontonian on the pregame show. You were on with us, and I gave him You've
knighted me.
I've knighted you at Edmontonian. So, and he got his first taste of West Edmonton Mall, which
you guys walked there?
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, just like the Santa Maria, the rink, just the water park. I didn't know any of that existed.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Well, you're not a true Edmontonian until
I
you
am now.
jump into the water.
No,
we
I'm
don't
encourage
We're not
that.
doing that.
So people
yeah.
jump into the lagoon where the Santa Maria is.
It seems like a bad idea.
It's a good way to get banned.
Is that where the sea lions are in there too?
The
right?
sea lions are there. There used to be dolphins.
Yeah.
There used to be
But
dolphins.
they're sea
Dolphins? I
lions.
didn't even know that.
There were dolphins there. And then people were describing Bourbon Street, which we were on
Did
yesterday
the
at
first
Hudson's.
cooler pop last night. It was
You
great.
did a cooler pop with Adam. Yeah, it was good. We had a good time. Zachticum, you were there for a little bit.
Yeah, I came. I got some. I stress ate some chicken tendies during the game.
The chicken tenders are good.
They were great. Yeah,
And the frickles as
I didn't have any
as
of the
Tom
frick-
likes to
We
say.
got frickles.
I always see those on the menu. Like I
They're
always want
awesome.
to get those.
They're
good
so
time
good.
down at
And
Hudson's.
the poutine was good.
packed.
The poutine was good.
Yeah, which one did you have?
Because there's a campfire one.
They're just the plain
Yeah.
classic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty standard.
Shout out to all the nasties that showed up. I'm going to go through this list because there's a lot of them. There was like half the room was AM nasties. Twitter Mary and her husband were there. Jay and Andrea, Cal in the park and Sarah and his kids and her kids. And then my parents showed up. Rip City Step, VR Montenegro and his lovely wife Ginger. Trev the Savage.
Grumpy Cat and his wife in the
Grumpy
Tobias
Cat.
Reader jerseys.
Yes.
Yep.
Grumpy Cat and his wife had Tobias Reader jerseys.
And he shamed me into coming on the show today too. So
Yes, thank you,
thank
Grumpy
you.
Cat.
Hope
Appreciate
you're
that.
watching. Hope you're listening.
Yeah, Renee was there, and Tyler from Green Plan, and I think that's it. That's a good chunk of people. I hope I remembered everybody, but thank you all for coming out last night. It was good. No watch party for Game 6. We're not doing it on location, so people already asking about that.
You'll be in the building.
We'll be in the building, absolutely. Absolutely tremendous time as well yesterday, and Whyno got his first taste of the AM Nasties up close and personal. And you were actually interviewing them, too,
I did,
for
yeah.
stories.
And thank you to everyone who actually indulged me bothering them at the end of their nights about talking about this run. And I need to bug more people today, so that's another.
You were a busy boy yesterday. You were like writing 2 different articles
I
at
have a
the
phone
same
interview
time.
at 11 a.m. So as soon as we're off this, I got to do a phone. I gotta do a phone interview.
You can have the boardroom,
It's.
whatever you want.
I'm just here, man.
EST is your oyster.
I live here now. You know this.
You live here.
I'm never
This is
leaving.
your city. You're running
I'm
for
never-
council with Gene Principe now.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm Gene's running mate. I think.
He's on the ticket. Get those texts in 780-218-9999. Paris Jewelers inbox. Let's get out to Hangout headlines presented by the Ranch Golf and Country Club, offering premier conditions, top-notch service, and unmatched value. Book your tee time today by visiting theranchgolf.com. Say hi to Murray if you are popping by the ranch, and you can catch the VIP golf show right here on EST at 8 a.m. with Murray McCourt and Curtis Stock and Zachticum. You're a busy boy too. Look at that.
Every Sunday, it's a good time to get up. Like he called his hole in one last time. He mentioned
That's
that on
right.
the Hangout, but he did call his hole in one. He said he didn't have one before that for 31 years.
Yep.
And he said, well, today's Father's Day. Maybe I got some good luck or something. And he went to go for his Sunday morning tea time as he does.
As he does.
And he got one apparently. I think on hole 8. Yeah.
Drained it like right into the hole.
That's impressive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And like the divot was like right on the edge, so it was like a kerplunk. It's just a perfect shot. So his third. He is a pro and does
His third hole in one.
Yeah, and he owns and operates a golf course of his own. So I think, Murray dialed in. Absolutely.
He had to dial in. And he was I guess the day after, so wow, I'm losing my days here. Today's Wednesday. On Monday.
It's non-game day.
It doesn't
That's all I know.
It doesn't matter what day it is. It's either a day where there's a game, or a day there's not a game. It's like we've lost all track of time here.
Yeah, I'm just living in the moment.
It's almost Canada Day. Like we're actually
yeah. Oh my gosh, almost a draft and everything.
Thank you. You are a true patriot.
you know this already.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So Edmonton forces Game 6. Steve and Zachticum, but just take us through like the craziness of what we witnessed last night.
It was just an emotional roller coaster, right? I mean, like just going in, I think everyone had a very sort of like maybe not resigned to defeat, but just low expectations, knowing a 3-1 series, a 3-0 series, a 3-1 series. As fun as Saturday night was, that like it was a great party, and you kind of felt like it might be time. Mm-hmm. And then they take a big lead, and everyone's going crazy. And then it starts to get chip away. And you and I are both wondering and thinking, well, they're going to blow this. Like, it just had all the makings of it, right, Tom? Like, it was it had the makings of the Panthers on the verge of a championship, pulling it all together, just solving Stuart Skinner, all of those things. And then 97. Like, it just, like, he's just
insane.
A madman. And, like, Paul Maurice said this early in the series, like, sometimes we lose appreciation for how good these guys are, McDavid and Draisaitl in particular. And Leon Draisaitl, obviously, we think he's banged up. Mm-hmm. Hasn't had the series he would have liked, but Connor McDavid really might be the Conn Smythe right now, which I want to. I want
need
to
to
ask
talk
you guys
about that, yeah.
that later. But last night was just a masterclass from Connor McDavid.
Zachticum.
Well, they came out rolling right away. Like the entire team, of course, Connor Brown with that huge goal, and then you posted the picture just of him, just of him. So is he's above what Michael?
I
Michael
think we
Pekka?
can safely say that he has surpassed both Peter Klima and Michael Pekka in terms of playoff performer in Euro. Good on Connor Brown.
Well, like the whole team played really well, and McDavid just lights out. Like first player in NHL history in the Stanley Cup Final to have 2 4-point
Back-to-back
games,
4-point games.
back to back. Like, come on, he's making his own history book now, right? Like he's
This is
starting to
insane. Yeah, he is.
He's starting to bring it up. and,
He is the history book now.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
it's-
writes the book. He's got his name right at the bottom.
With
Never mind Zach
eloquent
Hyman writing his books.
penmanship.
Yeah.
And then the other stat you were telling me during the game was that was the first time in Stanley Cup Final history, or is it playoff history, since 1991.
Since 91, 2 back-to-back shorthanded goals in back-to-back games.
Yeah.
Bob Airey and Mario Lemieux in 1991.
Wow.
So you've got just Connor McDavid adding himself to the Mario Lemieux, Wayne Gretzky sort of history. Only those two guys, you mentioned this last night, have more points in a single postseason than Connor McDavid.
I know it's something that has really hasn't been seen in my lifetime, and I'm witnessing it here, and I'm just in awe.
Yeah.
There's no other really words for it.
Yeah.
Like the way he plays, he makes it his own game. And sure, he's been shut down at moments, but he's stepping up in elimination games now. And Dusty, some people didn't like this, but he referred to him he compared him to LeBron, which I thought LeBron's great. Like come on.
Dusty's a big LeBron guy, just to fill you in.
Just as a joke.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Different sport. Whole different thing.
Yes.
But look, if somehow the Oilers pull this off, if again, still the odds are against them doing this, but
Knocking on the wood, yeah.
Connor McDavid certainly puts himself in the class of you're talking about him like LeBron, like Wayne Gretzky, like
Yes.
Patrick Mahomes, like all of he's Derek Jeter. He's like if this happens, that's it.
We'll see what
We're
happens.
still 2 Oilers wins away from that happening.
Yeah.
And I'm still the Conn Smythe thing is still a little murky for me, but
Yes. But you heard Wyshynski talking about it on the Nielsen show as we were driving in.
yeah.
Do you want to
don't-
get into it?
No, we'll get into it.
Okay.
We can get into it now. I'm
Yeah,
curious your guys' thoughts. I have a vote. So
I do not, obviously.
So I'm curious your guys' thoughts, and certainly a little bias here. If the Oilers lose this in 6 games, not 7, not win it, they lose in 6 games, is Connor McDavid still the playoff MVP?
I feel like it's so hard anytime to try and give
It's
a
brutally
trophy.
hard.
Like,
Brutally hard.
First off, as a player, you don't want it. You wouldn't care, really. Like, if you got it, sure, it's Conn Smythe, whatever. Like, I didn't
Great.
get what I wanted. I
He's
got
won a
another
million of
trophy to
those
put him
trophies.
in my trophy
Not
case.
the
I
Conn
have a
Smythe,
million.
but others. Yeah.
Yeah, like
He's won every other.
Every
like,
other
come on.
trophy, yeah.
But I don't think you could give it to him if the Edmonton Oilers lose.
What if
Even
he has
he's
another
deserving.
4-point game?
Oh, that
Like that's the thing, Steve.
that's
Like, and you have to. You were telling me like
know. I know.
the parameters in how you have to vote. You have to have it in by a certain time.
The record is 47.
yeah, that would
Right?
tie
The record's
Gretzky's
47. He's at
record, I think.
42
Yeah.
now. So he has a 4-point game against a 46. It's the second best postseason of all time.
behind Gretzky, 85.
Gretzky. Yeah. It's he's on the ballot now. Like
Yes.
I think it's fair to say, and this is not giving away any of the votes and whatever. I think it's fair to say he's on the ballot somewhere, some way with Alexander Barkov. Gustav Forsling's in the conversation. Sergei Bobrovsky is in the conversation, but he's certainly in it. What do you think?
I agree. I would say he's surpassed Bobrovsky, and I'm kind of of the mind that it's still Barkov's to lose right now, depending on what happens.
I think so too.
Yeah, I got
Now, if-
Barkov, yeah.
If McDavid has a crazy game on Friday, 3-4 points, and they lose, I think maybe you have to give it to him.
I think it's close.
Yeah.
If Barkov, the thing is, for the Panthers to win, and we discussed this a little bit pregame yesterday, Barkov has to shut down McDavid. Like the whole purpose, the whole way the Panthers took a lead in the series was Barkov limited McDavid.
Yes.
He was not only has he produced himself, but he is the key to the Panthers containing McDavid.
Right.
So to me, Barkov gets it if McDavid does not have an insane game. Like the reason the Panthers win this series would be in 6 would be Alexander Barkov shutting down Connor McDavid.
And to me, that's enough to win the Conn Smythe.
That's fair. I'm with you on
like
that. Yeah.
Like that's like he did it with Artemi Panarin. He did it with David Pastrnak, and he's done it with Leon Draisaitl a little bit too. But the key to the Panthers is Barkov on McDavid, and even when Paul Maurice had the matchups at home, Connor McDavid went ham. Right,
Yep.
like he was a monster even on the road.
So I think, well,
He's in the conversation.
he's in the conversation, and that really changed it. It took a few leaps forward yesterday after what he did. Right?
Oh, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that only one other player, Wayne Gretzky, had 2 4-point games at any point in the final, and that Connor's the only one to ever do it back to back, doing it while facing elimination. As Corey Perry said it, like he puts this team on his back when it matters.
Yeah, like it completely changed for me after like games 4 and 5 last night. It was Bobrovsky the way, like the entire way.
To me, it might have been Barkov the whole way, but I think McDavid's in the conversation.
Yeah, especially with the last couple of games and the way it's gone for Bobrovsky, I think, that kind of put a big dent in the plans for him to be the Conn Smythe winner.
Yeah, and
Right?
I guess Bouchard's there too, but he's not going to get it. I don't think he will. He's there. He's like top 5 maybe.
Well, he
If we
created some
had
history.
if we had 5 votes, he'd be on there. I think we only have 3.
Where
top
does
3.
yeah? Because that he's in the record books now for most
The
assists.
most assists by a defenseman, passing his assistant coach Paul Coffey.
That's right. So where does that put him in your opinion, Steve? What do you make of Bouchard? Like, how do you look at him?
Here's the thing. Like he wasn't good early in the series.
No,
like
he wasn't good at the start of the season either.
The brutal turnover he had was that game 3 where he put it right on Evan Rodriguez's stick.
Correct.
Game 2.
Game two.
Put it right on Evan Rodriguez's stick, and like just not as Cody Ceci and Darnell Nurse have had their struggles.
Yes.
Evan Bouchard through 3 rounds produced so much that it made up for any sort of like defensive liabilities he may have had. But he hadn't done that until now. Like he had the shot that actually went in off Zach Hyman last night on the power play, like to produce. Now he's kind of gotten his game back a little bit. I don't know that I wouldn't put him in the Conn Smythe sort of like consideration to actually get it.
Okay.
But he's been an important reason why they've come back in the series.
He's been a monster this year, in the playoffs especially. So
And he's getting a new contract at some point this summer, right?
yeah,
That's it. That's
Yep.
oh.
people like 10 million. Some people are saying.
I
don't buy
think
that.
he's a $10 million defenseman.
Yeah.
But I also don't think he's not a $6 million defenseman.
No.
Either. It's somewhere in between.
8?
Yeah, John Carlson back in 2018 after winning the Stanley Cup signed 8x8.
8x8. Okay.
So take a little inflation on that and say it's an 8x8.5 or 8x9 sort of contract.
Okay.
I think something like that makes sense. I'm obviously not his agent. I am not Jeff Jackson. So my opinion means nothing on this. But judging based on precedent and those sort of things, I think that's the range the Oilers are looking at.
I think that's safe and fair, and we'll see how it all plays out. Text us 780-218-9999. Thoughts on the Conn Smythe race? Do you give it to McDavid even if the Oilers lose in Game 6? Andrew texting in says, to be fair, if McDavid has another 4-point night in Game 6, I don't think the Oilers
They're not going to lose.
are losing.
That's a very fair point.
He had a 4-point night last night, and it got dicey. But that is a good point by Andrew. Jeffy getting into the action says the only reason Barkov is being considered is because of how he shut down star players. Well, that's flown out the window. McDavid has torched him. No justification for Barkov now. Daily Listener says ranch. Okay, Daily Listener. Collingwood Rob says, hi, Tom. Great win last night. I hope the refs have a solid game. The no call on the Oilers, too many men. Yeah, that is true. Bennett goalie interference and Kachuk goalie, plus the interference on Hyman was weak. The greatest thing is the Oilers are keeping their focus, which is impressive. Backs against the wall, they seem to be at their best. That's one thing that we've seen from this Oilers team. EA says, does Bill Zito's reaction have a negative effect on the Panthers as a whole? Even Maurice looked rattled yesterday. The Oilers management have been calm, even at 3-0 down, and it's showing for Game 4 and 5 thus far. What would you say to that, Steve?
No, I don't think so. I certainly Maurice's demeanor around the team, I think, matters more. Like Bill Zito is an excellent general manager who's built a championship caliber team.
Sure.
Full stop.
Yes.
And cares about winning and all those sort of things. I think everybody in their private moments around the Florida Panthers have their anger or all those sort of things. He just happened to be caught on camera doing it, right? Like I don't think that affects players at all. I think everyone around that team last night was angry. and wakes up this morning with a little bit of doubt, and they're gonna wake up tomorrow with less doubt, and they're gonna get to practice, and like athletes do, and people in sports do, they're gonna refocus themselves and reset themselves. And look, they may win Game 6, they may lose Game 6, but it's not gonna be because of Bill Zito throwing a water bottle.
It was fun to watch though, and the crazy
sure.
eyes thing too.
Sure.
Like the memes that are coming out of that, which was pretty funny.
Oh yeah, you just like staring. You could just see how heated he was through some of those pictures, and of course, like the video. Like that's what happened. It's the emotions that kind of boil over, and now it's the fact that now 2 chances to get the Stanley Cup. You've lost both of those games, and now you got to get back to Alberta as well.
They're being dragged back along with all the media.
Everyone's dragged
boy.
back. One of our colleagues is flying through LA with a 5-hour layover.
Oh.
Like just, and I know, like, look, we all love this job.
Yes,
Like,
yes,
we
it's
don't
awesome.
we don't complain about travel because anyone would kill us to have these jobs,
Yeah.
right? Like to be able to do it, but. This travel is not easy, which hence the reason why I stayed.
Yes.
Got the chance to do the pregame and postgame with you yesterday and hang out at Hudson's, which was lovely.
Yep.
But also not fly to Montreal and Montreal to Fort Lauderdale and do all the gymnastics that we might have to do for a Game 7.
Okay, I want to get to this too because this is kind of funny. Like the whole time we were at Hudson's, and even this morning, you're like, I can do this, I could do that. What are we looking at again? If there's a Game 7 for you,
There's a possibility of the Red Arrow bus
bus
to
and-
Calgary,
yes.
and then a flight from Calgary to Charlotte, and Charlotte to Palm Beach.
yeah.
There's an option that includes flying here to Ottawa, Ottawa to Fort Lauderdale. There's not a whole lot of good options.
No, they're not.
Of how
These
to
are
get
not good options.
between Central Alberta,
Yeah.
and South Florida.
Although we call it Northern Alberta.
There's not a whole lot of good ways to get from Edmonton to Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, Miami. There's at least 3 airports there that you can choose from.
Yeah.
If anybody who's watching is renting a car and driving to Calgary on Saturday, I might need a ride.
Steve's great in the car.
I'm not a pain in the car. which is good.
No, great stories and funny conversation.
Yeah, and so eventually, somehow, some way, if there's a Game 7, I'm getting to South Florida.
You'll be there.
I can't stay with my brother. His mother-in-law staying.
He shut you down?
His mother-in-law staying with them, so I can't stay with them. So that's not an option.
What about
But
taking the
we have-
Amtrak?
We have a lot of options involved here. Like,
Okay.
There's possibilities.
love this.
This is research for later in the day.
Yeah.
Write a story. Write a couple of stories. Make some phone calls, and then figure out how the heck to get to Florida.
Now you travel a lot. I'm wondering, what's the worst travel story that you have?
Oh, good one.
Ooh. I've gotten really lucky. I've gotten really lucky on travel. I'm trying to think what the worst travel I've ever had.
Like lost bags, anything like that.
Long layovers.
Well, on the way here was supposed to be Fort Lauderdale to Montreal, 5-hour layover, and then here. We were delayed getting out of Florida like the Panthers were, and storms and that sort of thing. The layover turned into about a 2.5, 3-hour layover. It was totally fine. Sat there with a Caesar, did some work. Was no problem. Longest flight was probably to Korea for the Olympics in 2018. Beijing was a weird one. Beijing for the bubble, they only let certain flights into Beijing because it was COVID and the borders were closed and all that. So we had to fly into Paris. My colleague from the Washington Post, David Wallace, and I went into Paris, kind of walked around, saw the town, had a glass of wine at 11 in the morning, and then got back to Charles de Gaulle, flew on Air China to Beijing, where the flight attendants were all in hazmat suits. Like,
Wow.
they even like the gate agents, whatever, all in hazmat suits. They had like a bag of stuff for you. They wouldn't serve you. They had a bag of like oranges and juice and whatever snacks for you, and they kept taking your temperature. Like before you took off, and then like midway through the flight, they came back and said, take your temperature again. Landed, and then had like the worst sort of like COVID like jab up the brain sort of thing. But it's fine. I mean, they get the chance to cover the Olympics. Like we're not complaining about this.
Yeah.
It was just a very insane travel day.
And then at the Olympics in Beijing, like what was that
Every
like?
day. We had to do throat swab testing every day.
Yeah.
So it would be one of those: wake up, go down and get your throat swab, then go to breakfast. Not the other way around though. Not breakfast first and then throat swab. But it was every day. You had your routine. You wake up, go down, get tested, go to breakfast, and then hope no one called you and said you tested positive.
Did anyone go down and like mysteriously disappear?
No one disappeared.
Okay,
we
thank
heard
God.
horror stories, and even we were talking about Greg Wyshynski earlier.
Yeah.
He and I were having beers maybe a month beforehand, and he'd heard there were horror stories about folks from NBC who were there early that were just in the middle of the night, like people came into the room, tested positive. People didn't know where they were. Like they left their phone or phone wasn't charged or whatever. None of that. A few colleagues tested positive and went to like the sort of the isolation bits, but like not anything crazy.
Okay, thank God. But yeah, that's some of the stuff that happened during COVID. You were in high school in COVID, right?
Yeah, grade 11 is when it really hit. So my full grade 11 year was online. Grade 10, I think, would have been it would have been grade 11 when it hit, and we got sent home and missed a bunch of stuff. And then slowly but surely, grade 12, it kind of started getting better. We could show up with masks and everything like that.
Right.
And then my graduation wasn't a real graduation. It was 2021. So it was a drive-through grad. They called it grad to go. You would pull up to the school. A teacher would come up to you with a box with all your gown and whatever. And then you'd get out of the car with a mask, put it on, and then you'd have to stay 6 feet apart, walk up to a stage, just get a picture, and then go. And then they'd mail you your diploma.
Wow.
I wasn't excited for grad anyway, but
But that was bubble times too, and that's where
That's where I fell in love with Edmonton.
That's where you fell in love with Edmonton. It was such a weird time.
It was a weird time to be alive, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just strange to go through all of that. But even back then, like the reason why the NHL picked Toronto and Edmonton for the bubbles was the COVID cases were very low here. Like Canada did a good job of that. And so we had some fun. We had some fun in September 2020.
Yes, we did. We had a lot of fun.
After my 14-day quarantine.
Yeah, but you said you got to know your beer guy on a first-name basis.
Yeah, only 3 Americans traveled for the bubble, media-wise. It was Bruce Bennett from Getty, Emily Kaplan from ESPN, and me.
And Bernstein.
And Dennis Bernstein. So 4 of us traveled for the bubble. We all had to do the 14-day isolation. Matt Porter came from Boston as well. Right. Sam Powell into Toronto from the Washington Post. But also the Bruins lost before Matt got out.
That's right.
He got to go home.
That's weird.
But I rented an Airbnb between the airport and the city, so the south side.
Yeah.
And like I could go outside. It was like a hotel room. I could actually like go have fresh air, and was on a first name basis with my beer delivery guy. Had a lot of Tim Hortons and Starbucks and whatever sort of delivery, and made it through. And it was weird to see people again. And then we got to hang out, celebrated your birthday.
Yes, we did. I remember that, man.
4 years ago.
But we were pretty banged up. Yeah, I was pretty banged up
4 years
for my birthday. Yeah, that was 4 years ago, which is insane. But I was asked, so I referenced the 2020 Stanley Cup Final because it was so weird. And that was the bubble, and you're going through high school at that time. Like, you and your buddies, and especially your friends who are huge Oilers fans, because I know that a bunch of them are. There's Shawn Belle.
there we go.
Bell's wherever.
I got to do some
What's
producing.
this like for you guys? No. Yeah, look at him. Yeah. Hi, Bellsy.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm great. You look very comfortable.
Hey, man.
Oh, that's Dusty. All right. It's the EST Hangout. Tom Gazzola with Steve Whyno from the Associated Press. Shawn Belle has arrived. And Zachticum, text us, Paris Jewelers inbox 780-218-9999. We'll get to his friends and how they're enjoying the Stanley Cup Final, because I remember 06 was crazy. It was on White Ave. It's a little bit different now, but I heard, who was saying? It was Connor from Hudson's yesterday.
Yes.
Was saying that White Ave was popping after that game for victory.
So fireworks and flares. And
Yeah. That sounds like the White Ave I know and love. You remember 06?
Oh, yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, you were back from, because you were playing for Tri-Cities at the time.
No, I was playing for,
Oh, no,
I would have been with Minnesota.
Right.
Yeah, so that would have been like my first year pro, coming back. And I just remember this place being absolute pandemonium. Like,
Yeah,
it was
nuts.
unbelievable.
It was nuts.
People were
Super
lighting things on fire, climbing the light posts.
Yep. Lifting others in shopping carts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Zachticum's working on the. You gotta fix the camera.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you might want to fix that.
Okay, Connor said it wasn't. This run has not quite been 06 level.
No, that's true. It hasn't been.
Downtown was nuts on Saturday night. I can't imagine what's gonna be like Friday.
Crowd dispersion. Credit to the city and EPS, and I think the fire department has been helping out as well. I think it's been really well controlled, because the mosh pit last year was getting a little wild. Remember that?
Yeah, we were talking about that quite a bit on our show. And we were just like, can you guys just stop fighting each other? But there was like moments early in the playoffs where everybody was kind of getting wound up. And
Yes.
since then, it's kind of slowed down, right? Since like round 3, round 4, it's been a lot less. I mean, there's still obviously a few that pop up on the good old Yeg wave. But for the most part, everybody's just happy and cheering on the team. So it's good to see.
There was an 8-man brawl after Game 1 of the Kings series last year at the bar that I was doing the show on location at, which is not good.
No.
Between Oilers fans.
All Oilers fans beating each other up after the Game 1 loss to the Kings last year.
Oh,
and I'm like, can we settle down, please? So that's why I was going to ask you, your buddies, where are they going? How are they Are they at the Moss Pit? Like, to me, there's no draw for me to go there because it's all kids in their late teens, early 20s, and
We're too old for this.
too old. My back will hurt after an hour.
Yeah, you can't stand for half an hour, right? Oh,
This
my back.
sucks. Oh, the porta potty smells. Oh my god.
Oh, even
So-
I was hurting when I went there. I only went there for one game during the Vancouver series, but my buddies, I know one super fan in particular lives right downtown, and they try and make their way down to the Moss Pit every single game. And I got a couple other buddies who are there almost every single game, but some of my closer friends they're all working and busy and stuff, so they're just watching it at home or whatever. They're on the road and stuff, but they get hyped for the games. And a couple of them texted me and they're like, "Hey, so what are you doing Friday? We're trying to go down to the Moss Pit. We want to try and
They know
make
you
our
work
way
for a
in there."
sports station, right?
I think they do.
Okay, good.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. But they're really excited, and I'm gonna be the first one to say it. I know it didn't happen, so I guess I'm gonna be honest. I had Dallas beating Edmonton, and they've been clowning me ever since, and they're still clowning me every day. Every single game that is played, they text me and they're like, "See, I told you. See, I knew this. I knew it wouldn't happen." I'm like, "Well, you're right. You're right. Yeah."
Similarly, I got a text from my colleague and good friend Mike Zeisberger.
Nice.
McJesus, I begged you to listen. I begged you to listen.
See, so it's not just the kids; it's Zeiss.
Zeiss correctly. Look, and the series is not over, but I did pick Panthers in 5. I just thought they were a wagon, and they look like it through 3 games. But this guy's really good. I don't
It's
know.
insane.
Yeah.
This guy's good at this thing.
He's pretty good. He's all right.
Might
I
have a
think-
future in the sport.
Yeah, I think he's going to make the team next year. Okay. I need to mention portions of this hour are brought to you by The Hive Product Marketing, the official merch partner of EST. Promotional products that bring the buzz, The Hive, productmarketing.com. It's the EST Hangout. Tom Gazzola, Shawn Belle, Stephen Whyno from the Associated Press and Zachticum with you. Text us, Paris Jewelers, inbox 780-218-9999. We've been joking around and having fun, talking about the game yesterday in this series, Conn Smythe Trophy. Belsy, give us your take on what you saw last night.
Well,
in the crazy game.
I'd be lying if I said I watched the whole game.
What?
Because I was in the middle of a golf tournament.
Oh, right.
So
How'd you play?
I think we might have won it. We were actually pretty good.
All right.
Wow.
I had some ringers. I'm not putting this on me. We had ringers that I brought out. So good leader, build a team. I'm a builder. But no, from what I did see, it looked like the Oilers defended fairly well. Obviously, McDavid is doing McDavid things and just being the difference maker that he is, and Connor Brown is showing up and just being electric on the PK. So that's as much as I can actually tell you about what I saw.
Okay.
Because there would be moments where everybody's kind of just talking, and then the place would erupt because the Oilers would score. So there wasn't a whole lot of watching going on.
That's fine. You're doing something fun and important. Charity golf tournament. I'm assuming charity golf.
Spruce Grove Saints.
Oh, Spruce Grove Saints. Yes, there's always a charity component.
Component to that, yeah.
That tournament could be a little bit
Well,
rowdy.
let's just say
It's
it
fun.
was rowdy.
Yeah.
And I tried not to get into it too much.
And
And I was successful
All
by
right.
not getting into it too much. But guys were like going to another level. Like Spitzer was trying to wrestle with me, as I was trying to walk out of the building.
Spitzy. What are you doing, Spitzy?
So I told him, I'm like, I'm going to cradle you like a baby.
Wow.
And I did.
Yes. Oh my goodness,
yeah.
Spitzy. I hope you're feeling good today.
Yeah.
But okay, if you're the Florida Panthers, I want your take on this because you played in the league. If you're the Florida Panthers, are you concerned? Is that creeping in? How do you think they're going about
I
this?
think there's a little bit of doubt. But at the same time, you're sitting back and you're saying, guys, we've got 3 wins.
Yeah.
We've got as many cracks at this as we want, and usually the odds suggest that you're going to win one of those the next 2 games.
Right.
Sure.
So you're probably in a good state of mind. You go back, you watch the video from the game, say, okay, well, what can we correct? Right. So right now, in the last 2 games, you've given up PK goals. Well, that's an easy one right there to try to fix.
Yes.
How are we giving up these PK goals? Because if you can find a way to erase a goal, then all of a sudden that game's 3-3. If you don't give up that Brown one, it's 3-3.
Right.
Right. So that's kind of how they're thinking in their minds. But I think they're probably in still good spirits. Things are getting a little bit tighter around there, obviously, because you've lost the last 2 and you're coming back here, and Edmonton's going to be electric. So there's that in your mind. But if you're the Panthers, now you say, okay, well, let's go win it in their building and really spoil it. So that's kind of their mindset too, right?
Right. My theory, Sean, was exactly that. Like last night, you're mad, you're upset, you have a little bit of doubt. You wake up with a little less doubt this morning, and tomorrow you get to practice, and there's even less, and the focus starts to come back. And by the time the puck drops, as Paul Maurice has said, on Friday night, it's the same sport, and you're kind of back to doing that thing. I think from those guys' perspective, I think it probably gets easier for them as the next few days go on.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I think as you get closer to game time, the mindset shifts to let's just go win it in their building.
Right.
Right. And like, let's, all this, how loud they're going to be and electric and how everybody's like, the Oilers are not losing in Edmonton, blah, blah, blah. Let's go win it there. And like really blank. And
I thought that was going to happen last night.
Yeah.
The blank. That's
No, but like
return the favor type of thing.
It's different, right? Like you go back home. Yeah, you want to win it on home ice, but usually that's one of the best things possible. You win it on home ice.
Sure.
But the next best thing is winning it on somebody else. winning on somebody else's ice, especially if you're like Tkachuk and you're Bennett. Like this rivalry is starting to blossom. Like you don't think that there's a little bit of extra motivation if you're Tkachuk to say, I want to win it in Edmonton with all the different storylines. Like there's just that added incentive. And so that's probably where the Panthers their heads are going to get to, like, well, guys, like, let's just go win it there.
It seems simple.
It seems simple, but you got to try to figure out, like, the edge, right? From a mental standpoint, you got to find that edge.
You have to make it simple. You have to make it, right.
You have to manufacture it on your own.
100%.
But if you're flip it around. If you're Edmonton, all of a sudden you've rattled off 2 straight wins, and
you feel unreal about yourself, and you say, Kate, we just got to keep it going. They have all the pressure, boys. We have none. They have to win. We just got to play.
Nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. Let's just go.
Chris Knobloch this morning said, we're playing with house money.
Yeah.
That's the Oilers right now. They were down 3-0 in the series. Everyone counted them out. That's how they're feeling.
They have absolutely nothing to lose, and that's how they're playing. Let's just go play, boys.
Well, I guess besides the Stanley Cup, but no, I'm
100%.
just kidding.
That's the obvious answer. But if you're the Oilers and you're sitting in that locker room, well, they've been talking about belief for a long time. Okay, we got to believe we can do this. We know that we can do it. We've had chances through game 1 and game 3. We were the better team. We had more chances. We had more shots. Then all of a sudden you sit there and you say, okay, well, now we're at 3-2 because these chances are now going in. So you got to believe that we can do this. And boys, hey, what do we have to lose? Right now, they're the ones that got 3 wins. They're the ones that have to close it out. We just got to go out and play. Because if we just go out and play, well, our best, with the urgency that we've seen, pretty hard to beat.
And Knobloch said that in his post-game interview where he was saying, he mentioned the belief and that he actually feels like the team has it and everyone has the hope and the drive to believe. And he says that he's never felt that before.
Well, he talked about, you and I were talking about this too a little bit. I don't know if we touched on it on the post. Yeah, I did, because I wrote down the quote. What Zachticum's talking about, he's like, I've been on teams, Chris Knobloch said, I've been on teams where, yeah, everyone believes, but then you kind of like dig deep and look around and they're like, these guys don't give a crap. The belief is phony. Can you articulate that? I know you've told me AHL stories, which are hilarious, and this is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But, like, do you know what Knobloch is saying in regard to that?
Yeah, 100% I do. There's a belief that if things go well, then we'll keep rolling. But the minute things get hard, we'll just fold up like a cheap tent. And I have actually seen teams like that, where it's like, yeah, we believe. Okay, we're down 2-0 in the elimination game, and it's bye-bye. And it turns out to be 9-2.
Yeah.
We saw that with Florida and Vegas last
Exactly.
year. Like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like Vegas just completely blew them out of the building. And look, if Florida takes a lead last night, we don't know how the Oilers would have reacted.
Yep.
Good point.
But when they were in danger of blowing that lead, they didn't fold. They didn't fold at all.
Yeah.
I thought for sure with just under 15 minutes left, Florida gets that goal to cut the lead to 1. I'm like, this is not going Edmonton's way, and you're just waiting for that equalizer, and it didn't happen.
It didn't happen because what you've seen with the Oilers recently is that they have the ability to bend but not break. Right? So this
Sure,
is that
yeah.
this is that maturation process that we've talked about, and the experience that they've been gaining is they understand now how to deal with some of that adversity that shows up in the games.
Right.
Because before, like if you just rewind to last year, they might have lost that game.
100% they would lose that
but
game.
now they figure out, okay, well, now it's as simple as cliche. Well, chip that puck out. I don't have to make that extra play.
Right.
It's out of the zone. Now these guys have to regroup and they got to try to reattack again. We close up the middle of the ice and they play on the outside, and that's exactly what you're seeing. So,
And even you and I were talking on either the pre or post game show about Stuart Skinner after
Right.
Game 3 and how some fans were upset that he wasn't more upset.
Yeah, do you remember
and
that?
And he called it a learning lesson. But like these are learning lessons.
Yeah.
Stuart Skinner learned from that game, from that turnover, and he's been excellent ever since.
True.
Even and I pointed to it as a lesson for next year or the year after that when they're in the spot again. But even being in the spot now, you're seeing them learn lessons as the playoffs and as the series go on.
100%.
People were getting mad that Skinner wasn't more angry in his post-game interview after Game 3.
Well, what do you want? What do you want him to do?
That's what Whyno's
slam in
referencing.
his water
like,
bottle?
I mean,
Like,
yeah,
the-
right. Like he was very upset, but also like he's a very in his own head in a good way
Yeah.
sort of goaltender. And look, be a goalie, you need to be a little crazy.
Yeah,
Right?
there's
To
a touch of something
frozen
there.
rubber fired at you at 100 miles an hour. But for someone who's kind of really gotten his mental state sort of together, it is. And I know fans don't want to hear after a loss that sort of thing. But as an athlete, as a goaltender in that position, yes, it is a learning lesson.
And that's the mindset of athletes too. It's that, okay, well, coaches would always say park it. You're like, well, what do you mean by park it? It's like, okay, well, I just turned that puck over. Do you understand why you did it? Yeah. Okay, and then it's done. You can't turn the page. You can't change what you've done. Learn from that mistake and move on.
That's like life. It's just like
100% it is. And
Yeah.
you see that across every sport. I mean, the best exemplar is cornerbacks in the NFL or even the CFL. It's like you get torched on these passes, right? You're getting, you just got lit up with their best receiver for what, five catches, 120 yards, but then he turns around and makes that game-saving play because he's understood like that stuff doesn't matter. It's the next play. It's the next play. It's the next play.
Don't dwell.
Don't dwell on it because that's when usually things go sideways.
Absolutely. Yeah, good point. Let's get to some text here, and we begin with Neil. I think this is going to be for you because the travel is ridiculous right now. And Steve's been like, I can do this. People are going to do this. People are going to do laundry at his Airbnb. Like we should.
Nice.
Everyone's
Nice.
bringing over laundry to church, and I said, "Come bring over a beer and come do laundry and hang out."
We've
Like,
got the
That's
best
awesome.
beer for everybody. It's called 6 O'Clock or Lager by our
Yep.
good friends over at Alley.
I having tasted it last night for the first time. It's delicious.
Nice.
See, and beers are Steve's thing. He's a beer snob, even though his last name's Whyno.
When I was in my isolation, I did an Instagram for every different beer I tried for like that 14-day.
That does not
Period.
surprise me at all.
It's the least surprising thing on earth.
Yeah, I love it. Then he tried the 6 o'clocker, and I looked at him like a little kid at Christmas, and he's like, "This is good beer." And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, we know it.
Have you tried the birdie booze yet?
I have not tried that yet.
We can.
I could go grab some.
that's
right
a-
We
now.
can fix that. Well,
Yeah, we can fix that in a
That's
hurry.
a tonight. That's a tonight situation. I've got like 8 stories to write between now and then. But yes.
Okay, Neil texts in and says, "Is it not easier for everyone to pool their money for a charter flight to Florida? I know people who have tickets for Game 7 going through Orlando on Saturday direct and then renting a car to go to the game. Cheers from Neil."
Not even a rental car. The Brightline train goes from Orlando to Fort Lauderdale. I hope I'm not telling too many people and I lose my seat on that
You
train.
won't. You won't.
But I'm considering the drive to Calgary. Is there a direct from Calgary to Orlando? People keep telling me about this flight.
I thought
and
we
I
had
can't-
one from
And I
Edmonton.
can't find it. There's no directs from Edmonton to anywhere in the Eastern time zone. Other than, Atlanta.
Atlanta, right, which Awanek took today.
In
Yeah.
theory, you could fly to Atlanta and drive from Atlanta. My colleague Bailey Johnson from the Washington Post
Right.
did that the reverse on the way here.
Right.
The storms were delaying her, this and that. Her family, she's from Atlanta. So she drove the 9 hours from Fort Lauderdale to Atlanta. I guess there's worse things than, right?
Yeah, the Bright Line that travels like 200 miles.
Yeah,
an hour?
it's one of the high speed rail.
Yeah.
And I've done it from Orlando to Lauderdale and back. It's brilliant.
Man, it's gonna be insane. Charters are what, like 30 grand?
I have no concept of what a charter.
Well, it depends how big it is.
Okay.
Well, the NHL has a league charter for
Right.
staff, right? There's a Panthers plane, there's an Oilers plane,
Yeah.
and then there's the league plane, which is the rights holders. It's Messier, PK Subban,
Derek
Steve
Van
Lee,
Diest.
are some of our colleagues from NHL.com.
Yeah.
Gary Bettman. Like, there's that charter, and then there's the other two team ones, and then the rest of us are just like, good luck.
Yeah, I guess.
There's no the league used to have a charter.
Right.
Back when there was the Carolina Edmonton series in
Yes.
06, back when it was Tampa Bay and Calgary in 04, Boston, Vancouver. I think they haven't done it since that Boston Vancouver series.
Really? Cost? I mean,
Cost,
the
yeah,
league's
yeah.
making like record profits.
I am not in charge of this.
Fix this, Steve.
I am. This is way above my pay grade. But you know what? If there's a game 7, I'm going to be there somehow, some way. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a game 7. I'm here for game 6.
Planes, trains, and
Plane,
automobiles.
trains, and automobiles
Yeah.
is okay.
I christened him an Edmontonian yesterday, and he first taste of West Edmonton Mall, and I had to explain like old West Edmonton Mall to him, the old Bourbon Street,
The
with,
whale?
like the whale in the middle
The
of
clown,
the
the
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
like
mall. The jester.
the dolphins that aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
yeah.
The Dolphins were wicked.
The sea lions weren't out; they were.
It was late. They were sleeping. It's okay.
Yeah, I had to explain to him the submarines that used to go around the
Yeah.
Santa Maria, and took him to the rink. The ice was out. Showed him World Water Park, which I
Has
had
a zip line now.
the zip line. There used to be a bungee jump, the wave pool. It was closing down by the time we went by it. But yes, I was telling him like this used to be the biggest mall in the world. I think there's a bigger one in China, and that's the biggest one in North America, and it's still very impressive.
Isn't there one in Dubai as well?
There's got to be one in Dubai.
It might be.
Something
Might be
like-
bigger,
there's
but-
always
So
something
biggest in North
Dubai.
America,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I've been to Mall of America in Minnesota many years ago, but this was a different experience.
Yeah, that's.
What did you think of it?
I was blown away. I didn't know what to expect. I went in with no expect. I didn't know what this place was until we're on the way there, and Tom's given me the kind of the down low on like this used to be here and this is here, and I'm like, the heck is this place?
It's West Edmonton Mall.
Like, it's West Edmonton Mall. I'm like, I just thought we were going to a mall. Like I thought we were going to a bar, an establishment in a mall, and it's like a theme park.
Yep.
Yeah.
It has one.
It had
It definitely does.
with an amusement park inside. I don't know. It's I just we were talking about. I can't imagine you talking about your parents about this. Like Christmas, like a Christmas time or
Yeah.
a week of the Saturday before Christmas. How insane that is. But I really enjoyed being in your fair city in June and September and not in December and January. No offense.
None taken.
Yeah,
I'd
no.
rather be
I don't blame
somewhere else too.
I
to
think
be
people
honest.
actively avoid that place
Yes.
in December.
It becomes a nut house.
Yeah.
So it was calm yesterday there. It was good. The few people that came up to us before pregame were like, "Hey, how do you like West Edmonton Mall?" Because I'd be like, "Steve's first time here," and I would be like, "Well, hang on, he's only gone like 40 feet from that entrance."
we had to take the walk around until second intermission.
Yeah, he hasn't really seen it. So
At which point I was panicking about writing my stories anyway. So it was,
I know. But there's been so many changes there. But it is a neat place, and I guess you getting your first taste of it was a good reminder of that. So
I forgot about the submarines, actually.
it was awesome. There's a submarine ride. There's like sharks down there, penguins. They had
Yeah.
the little zoo. You didn't know that?
Yeah,
No.
they had all that stuff.
It's still there.
Oh well, I guess I'm
Are
not
there
there
still
that often.
penguins? Or
Yeah.
are penguins gone?
Yeah, no, they're down there.
But you have to go into just to the side of where the sea lions are, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to go down into the underwater or the
That's like the
underground cave or
Yeah,
whatever.
the
zoo.
cave. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the sea lions, God bless them, but they're no dolphin. The dolphins were awesome. I know there was all kinds of issues with the dolphins, and some of them were dying and
Why
stuff.
are you anti-sea lion?
They're funny. They're great,
Fine.
but the dolphins were just majestic.
Love dolphins.
Yeah, I mean,
Smart creatures, apparently.
yeah, apparently being in a small tank inside of a mall in northern
Might
Alberta.
not be the best condition.
No, it's not the best for them.
When you're used to roaming the oceans.
A little bit different. So
What's
yeah,
this
it
cage
didn't
all
last
about?
long. 780-218-9999. Let's get to some text. We've got a lot to get to. I have the hole-in-one entry to get to, as well as the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival entry, and I do need to remind people we've got bids for kids tonight. You're part of
Yeah.
it with Georges Laroque, myself, and
90s theme?
90s theme, and Dusty Nielsen.
Do you have clothes that are from the 90s?
I haven't. No, I don't. And this is a problem. So I have something that I can wear that is a retro jersey from the 90s that I'm going to wear, and it kind of fits in nicely with kid sport, right? So I've got an idea. Do you have anything for like?
No,
90s?
I have no 90s gear.
What are you going to wear?
I don't know.
Hit a thrift shop. You know.
I actually was thinking about that.
Actually,
Yeah.
Any ideas for him?
Headbands, high socks.
Yeah.
Oh, just go tight and bright?
Yeah.
Oh, that'll really win them over.
Yeah, that's nice. I went to a '90s sort of cover band many years ago. I wore my throwback Wild Wing Muddy Ducks jersey from
Nice.
1996 or whatever it was.
Classic. Well, then they're changing their
They're
uniforms.
going back to that duck mask
Good.
logo
They
with
should.
orange. So
Good. They
Are
are.
they going back to orange?
they're going back.
Like
They're keeping the
full
orange.
Yeah.
They're going like heavy orange, but with that old original logo, which was brilliant.
That's the logo.
I feel like they should just go back to like the old jerseys.
I agree. Everything from the '90s is great to me. Like other than the Robot Penguins jersey, which was terrible.
Oh, right.
Everything else about '90s hockey fashion is my favorite.
Yeah, the St. Louis Blues trumpet coming from the side that Mike Keenan kiboshed. I think that was pretty bad, but
They did the reverse retro like that. They did with the red on it, with the red and the.
I like that one.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Curtis Joseph.
The
It
duck where he's like kind of like jumping from the bottom.
That's the jersey I wore
That's
to the
one?
'90s
Okay,
thing. Yes,
yeah.
that's
That's so 90s. By the
That is a 90s
So
jersey.
some ideas for tonight. Bids for kids. Join Edmonton Sports Talk for a fun night in support of kids sport. It's Bids for Kids from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. tonight, presented by our partners over at GS Construction. Dusty will be joined by myself, Belzy, as well as Georges Laroque. And it'll be broadcast live from the Bell in Scona. 90s theme night like we're talking about, so you know it's going to be rad, man. Great liner. Grab tickets to support a great cause at www.kidsportbidsforkids.com, and you'll go into a door prize draw for an Alberta mountain getaway. That's the other thing, too. I don't know if you've done a mountain getaway like Banff, Jasper,
Never.
Lake Louise. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. We have a lot of good things in Alberta. We're lucky.
again. I love being here. It's just hard to get here.
I know.
It's just difficult.
Yeah,
Once
and
you're
Calgary
here,
tries
it's
to
great.
claim Banff, which is not normal. Like,
Does Edmonton claim Jasper?
nope,
No, but it is close.
it's close.
And it's lovely.
Yeah.
but we don't claim it.
Yeah.
We don't claim it. Awanik says this thing about Calgary. Yeah, it's Awanik. He says the best part about Calgary, or no, DVD says it. He says the thing about Calgary is everyone wants to get out of Calgary to go to other places, like Banff,
That's why they claim it.
Canmore. Yeah, that's why they claim it.
well, they are really close, so you could see the mountains from. Right, I'd always
Well, the
want to go
mountains
there.
are just big, Zach.
When I was in Calgary, I wanted
You
to
can
leave.
see them from a long
Yeah.
ways away.
Yeah, exactly. It is closer. 45 minutes an hour?
Funny enough, talking about the mountains, I at the Elks tailgate, which every home game EST does have the Elks tailgate. We're at number 31, I think, right across from
Spirit of Edmonton.
Spirit of Edmonton. Yes, I lost the words there.
I got you.
Really good spot, great spot. We got chips and stuff, and I think the next one's July 14th, so it's a ways away. But I ran into the Team Australia for the AF U20 tackle football team or whatever.
Yeah.
So they play American football, but they all came over, and they're going to be playing in, I think, Clark. The tournament starts whenever, I think, this week.
Coming up soon.
Yeah, they got the championship. They're going to play Japan, I think, but basically I ran into some of the players there, and I asked one of the guys, because we had the box of chips, all dressed, whatever. They haven't tried all dressed before or ketchup. So I let them try the ketchup chips, and they're like, ketchup chips? And I'm like, well, potato and ketchup, it works well together. So they tried it, they liked it. But I was talking to them, I'm like, so like you guys are here for your games. You probably have a couple days off. Are you guys gonna go like check out the mountains and stuff? And they were just like mesmerized about all the going over the Rockies. I think that's how they came in. They went to BC and then flew
Here.
over the Rockies,
Yeah.
and they were just like, it's a great place to be. I love it
beautiful.
here. Yeah. And I'd love to leave Calgary to go. If I was ever in Calgary,
There you go.
I'd be driving through it
There you go.
or around it.
I'm not anti-Calgary, but I just,
I'm just joking around.
Edmonton is my preferred of the
it's your
two.
hometown now, so
It is. I might still be around by that July 14th tailgate. Who knows?
You gotta change all your IDs now.
I'm just not leaving. That's just,
the kid from Philly no longer.
I'm just Edmontonian now.
You're on the Caps beat from Edmonton.
It's fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
I'll catch them once a year when they come in. It's fine. It's fine. I'm on the McDavid beat now.
Exactly. It's a better place. I'm just kidding. This is the Hangout. Tom Gazzola, Shawn Belle, Stephen Whyno from the Associated Press, and Zachticum. Let's get to a couple of texts here as we roll along. Hour number 2 of the show. The Wolf is definitely hungover today. Got a 6.5-hour drive home. Worked 61 out of the last 62 days. I'm ready for days off, golf, and being home for a watch party. What do you got there? Ooh, breaking news. Go ahead. I want to get your reaction.
The Flames have traded goaltender Jacob Markstrom to the New Jersey Devils.
Oh wow.
What's the return?
1 minute ago.
From Frank Saravalli?
Saravalli.
All right, Whyno, do you have
Working
to
on
write
the
an article
details.
right now?
I may be writing a story now.
You can do it while you're on the show giving us a diatribe on something. Okay, what do you make of that, Whyno?
This is the deal that Tom Fitzgerald has been trying to pull off for quite some time now.
Yeah.
He's been targeting Jacob Markstrom for the longest time, and the Devils could not, and the Flames could not figure out a deal until now. It was the Flames were not going to give Jacob Markstrom away, but Tom Fitzgerald's been after a goalie, whether it was John Gibson, UC Saros, or Jacob Markstrom, and Markstrom's been New Jersey's target for the longest time.
Right.
I'll be fascinated to see kind of what the return is here.
How close does this bring the Devils to being a contender, if at all?
I mean, they were already in the mix as a team that made the playoffs last season, and goaltending was the only reason they missed this season. I mean, look, the Capitals and the Flyers and Islanders, like, these were not real legit playoff teams, right?
Sure.
Like, the Capitals and Islanders made it because 8 teams have to make it in the Eastern Conference. But the Devils would have been there if they had goaltending. Like,
right.
Lindy Ruff got fired because nobody could stop a beach ball. Yeah. And Jacob Markstrom solves that puzzle for them.
Belsey, what does this do to the Calgary Flames?
Well, it's definitely full rebuild. Depending on what comes back, I'm very intrigued to see that. But what it does, though, is it takes another goaltender off the market, which if you're now Toronto and you potentially have this one person, this one player being floated in trades. Mm-hmm. I think we talked about this on Hello Hockey once, didn't we?
I think we did talk about it on Hello
who
Hockey.
potentially the Leafs could be going after.
Yeah.
So that takes a goaltender off.
It does, and John, my theory, and this is just a theory, this is not based on reporting whatsoever, but a UC Saros Mitch Marner trade makes too much sense to me. It makes, to me, I think Mitch Marner needs, for his own sake, to get out of Toronto, and get a long-term deal in a place where hockey is not a day-to-day like fascination.
Good point.
I couldn't agree with you more.
And the Leafs need a goalie, and the Predators have Askarov, their top goalie prospect, ready and able to play. If Bradshaw living in Barry Trotz had not talked about this when Barry Trotz was asked about this a few weeks ago, so it wasn't like it was kind of a little out of left field. But from a 10,000 feet perspective, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to think that Saros would be a guy that would be on the way up. But Askarov, you're right. He's been ripening in the minors for a few years now. I know a lot of Edmonton Oiler fans wanted Askarov a few years ago when he was drafted. Didn't happen, obviously. He was off the board. What did you want to add?
I was going to say, if you now Mitch Marner and you go to a place like Nashville, do you just completely jump off the page?
Maybe.
Because, like, to me, some of the problems that he has is that he's just... His whole world, his whole circle is a bit of a circus.
Sure. Yeah.
And so if you can get him away from some of that and you get into a place like Nashville where you become the guy, you've got actually a pretty decent supporting cast there.
Ryan O'Reilly, Philip Forsberg, those guys are great.
Does he jump in terms of points? Like, does he just become now all of a sudden like, this is the guy that's going to help propel Nashville to another level?
I think they need more depth, but I think he adds a certain layer and some punch and gives those guys support. I think that would be a great trade for
and then
them.
You've
I think Steve's right.
got grizzled veteran players that, you know, the way that Nashville plays, they're a hard team to play against.
Right.
And so that might drag him along in terms of, you know, trying to be a little bit harder to play against, not so soft. Like the Leafs have their top 6 is soft.
Fair point. I don't disagree
And
with
that's not a
at all.
shot. It's just
It's
that's
just
what
they
it
are.
is.
That's
are.
their style.
And so
They're
if you
finesse
have
guys.
if you have finesse players and you're around those, you don't have the propensity to try to change to try to play a little bit more of a playoff style game.
Right.
So interesting.
So Whyno's going to write an article right now. That's how
He's gone.
This guy is insane, man. Yesterday he's like doing a Washington Commanders story while we're doing the pregame show, and he's like, "Yeah, they just settled a lawsuit. I've got to write it." I'm like, "Oh my god, he is just a beast when
Just
it comes
quick,
to
right to the punch. And
Yep.
then later he's gonna have to do Greg Wyshynski's laundry.
Yes, yes. What a day! What a day for Stephen Whyno, Associated Press. What do you think of this Markstrom trade, Zachticum?
I think it's huge for the Devils to go and get actually a goalie that you could really
Lean on,
trust.
yeah.
And he's a superstar. I mean, he's had a couple shaky moments since he was signed in Calgary, but he was shining the last year and the parts of the year before that. And
You didn't warn me about
The
this.
chairs do
Everyone's
that.
listening.
Yeah.
That's
You didn't warn me
That's
about
the
this the
chair.
first time.
Stephen, my goodness.
And now we've confirmed that Jacob Markstrom is being traded to the New Jersey Devils.
we have a return?
We don't have the return yet.
Okay.
There's a player involved in the trade who's not been notified yet, so the trade will be official within the next hour.
Okay, beautiful. This is the best part about the Hangout is you can just do this. This is fine. And
Well, I mean,
we're hanging out.
we're hanging out. I do have some text I want to get to. We do have to do the $100,000 hole-in-one contest entrant. Let's get to that right now. You've got that, Zach. I'm going to put it up on the screen. The $100,000 hole-in-one contest is presented by Golf Town. Swing big this Father's Day. That was last weekend. Golf Town has a lot of great items. Did you get a gift card to Golf Town for Father's Day?
Nope.
What'd you get?
I went golfing.
You went golfing.
Ooh.
Okay. So go visit our good friends and partners over at Golf Town. Whether you want to pick up a GC, you want to go work on your putting, you want to buy a new putter, get some new irons like I did, go see Murray B at the South Edmonton Common location. He'll take good care of you. Great apparel as well. I believe the pullover is from Golf Town. I love it. It's so
Yeah, it's
comfortable.
nice.
Travis Matthew. Yeah, it's really, really nice. So let's give out the keyword. Oh my God, I have so many papers because Wannick leaves me with all these papers. Today, what day is it? The 19th? I've got it right here for the Hangout.
Just make one up.
All right, text in right now to 780-218-9999 for a chance to qualify and potentially shoot for $100,000 at the Ranch Golf and Country Club on July 3rd, the 17th hole, par 3. It's going to be 180 yards out. Text in the keyword Augusta. Augusta. Do you have it up on the screen?
I do not.
No, you do not. Text in Augusta to 780-218-9999, like Augusta National, where the Masters is held every year. Keyword is Augusta. We will pick an entrant, and you'll be qualified for a chance to shoot for $100,000 at the ranch, July 3rd, 17th hole, 180 yards up.
Hey, maybe with the I don't
boy.
know the big.
What is going on
What
here?
happened?
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Dusty, settle down over there. He's getting excited.
Sounded like you dropped 10 of them.
Yeah.
That's what happens with my golf swing. I wouldn't be able to hit that hole in one.
He's
Maybe
He's getting lessons from Murray right before the Hangout
That's
yesterday,
awesome.
2 days ago. Yeah.
just on Monday because he hit a hole in one. So I asked him. I'm like, okay, well, he's got the magic touch, of course. Professional.
does.
Bona fide.
I
Professional.
might have to go see him.
Yeah, I would say
I just
about
need
that.
to straighten out my drives.
Yeah, I just need to straighten out everything.
You need clubs that actually work. He bought a $4.50
yeah.
driver that was
You
like
can't
some
have wood.
knockoff. Yeah. And had a gouge in the bottom of it.
Yeah, one from 1990. Yeah.
That's awful. Speaking of 90s. Augusta texted in. I see a ton of texts coming in right now for a chance to qualify to get in on the $100,000 hole-in-one contest. We'll take a few more minutes and then one lucky random texter will be entered for that. All right. That's taken care of. Look at all
How
these
much
papers. I
paper
know.
do you have?
I know. Good on Wannick. He's very thorough with this, but I have a pile of papers there. Keep those texts coming in. Augusta is today's keyword for the $100,000 hole-in-one contest presented by Golf Town and in association with our good friends and partners over at the Ranch Golf and Country Club. Shout out to Murray B at Golf Town and Murray M over at the Ranch. Okay, I got this text. This one I'm going to throw your way. It's a little bit different. Tommy, I'm coming to town with my 3.5-year-old. You're connected. Do you have any recommendations of how I can get out and about and enjoy the atmosphere with my kid? Yes, I might know people at like establishments and restaurants and stuff like that, but you have Evie.
Yeah, but
now?
Yeah, she's 2.5.
So what would you recommend someone who's coming to town, has a 3.5-year-old, wants to have some fun? Where would you say to go? And probably wants to enjoy some hockey.
Well, I get the question that I'm going to follow that up with is, do you want to be in the mix?
Well, with a
So if you-
3.5-year-old?
Well, that's people do it.
Well, I saw mom breastfeeding in the moss pit.
That's my point. So
In
if you
front
want-
of everybody.
If you
Yeah,
want
I
to be
was
in the
like, okay,
mix,
well.
then you got to go right down.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is. But if you want to just go watch the game, well, I'd be on the outskirts of downtown.
Give me an option for in the mix and out of the mix with your 3.5-year-old.
Well, in the mix, the moss pit. If you want to be in the mix, like get downtown, be right in it.
Okay.
Be on the outskirts of the moss pit because if you're right in the middle, well, that's just hell.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been. Yeah, there's beers flying up
Yeah.
top.
Yeah, that's unpleasant.
You get the crossfire. It's like
If I think if you're on the outer edge of the moss pit, I think you'd be okay with a 3.5-year-old.
oh yeah, probably, hopefully,
Right.
and then I
Hopefully
think they
is
have
right.
the second the tailgate party as well.
Yep.
Where they have more seating as well.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
that's more like family, I guess.
Exactly.
Even though
And
they're
then if
open to
you're-
everybody, but
If you're out of the mix, I don't know, stay downtown. Like try to be downtown somewhere.
Ish, downtown-ish.
Yeah.
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 Like you could start if you got a kid with you and you want to watch hockey and enjoy the atmosphere, like say the ledge grounds.
That'd be a good spot.
There's always good stuff happening around there. It's a lot of fun. It's nice. And you can work your way up towards the arena and the district. That's a good way to do it. And then West Edmonton Mall if you want to be on the outskirts, right?
Yeah.
And there's always
Place like
stuff
that,
you
yeah.
can eat. You can have the kids can
I
do
think
whatever.
the follow-up question that needs to be, do you want to be in the mix? Yes or no?
There you go. So that
And then
texter,
we can answer that.
do you want to be in the mix with your 3.5-year-old?
apparently, well, it's crazy to try and like bring, I guess, kids there. I think if you're
They're
under
there.
like 10 or 8, it's a little bit risky.
Yeah.
Just you don't know what other people are getting into and stuff. And even at the game, crazy stuff happens. I mean, just in day life, it happens.
Yeah.
But down there, it's people, drinks are flowing and everything like that. And
That's why that's why you got to stay on the outer edge.
right.
Right? Like the more that you go in, the more madness it is.
Is it 18 and over inside the mall? Because like where I saw the mom breastfeeding was just outside the gates of the mosh pit, but she was
Okay.
there watching
Yeah.
on the screen. She wasn't in it.
No, it's not 18 plus.
It's not
anymore.
18 plus,
No.
so kids can go in.
They,
there. Okay.
they did have that, I think, for parts of the first round, but once the second round hit, I'm pretty
changed
sure
it?
they
Okay.
flipped it over just for all hell breaks loose. Everybody could get in. They still check you with the metal detectors and stuff. They have the security there, and
There's some
probably
weirdos
for the
around
best.
there.
oh yeah,
I
yeah,
live right across
definitely
the street,
is.
and I've seen them. There's some weirdos around there.
It is. It is downtown.
I like how he's like, "Do you want to be in the mix?"
Well, it's true.
It's
True. Like, do you want to be in the mix?
Well, fair enough.
Like, are you coming up so you can get rowdy yourself? Do you want to see what the atmosphere is like in Edmonton?
Like,
You got to be right in the mix.
If you have a 3.5-year-old kid with you and they want to experience, like
Throw
a
him or
Stanley-
her up on the shoulders.
on the shoulders is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wear a back brace.
Be safe.
Be safe.
Be safe. Okay, I
Because
got.
if you have a back like Tommy's, you're done after 30.
Yeah, my lower back is no bueno. Okay, here's one. It's no name on it, but it says here's the asking price up high center ice. $4,600 Canadian.
Man.
I could
Up
buy a
high
Honda Civic
center.
with that.
You could buy on it. You could buy a bunch of things with that. That's insane.
That
how
is
much
insane.
these prices are.
I mean, paying rent or going to a hockey. And look, this is amazing, but
Yeah.
that's rent money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Who needs a house when the Oilers are your home?
One ticket, 4600.
Moss
Yep.
pit. You could just live there. Yeah.
Wow.
Apparently, when I was a little baby,
A fresh bebe?
Yeah, I was taken to one of the 2006 games. Apparently,
Really?
My dad tells
Oh,
me about
wow.
it. Yeah. Hopefully, they put earmuffs on me.
Do you think he was throwing you up in the air after a win?
Yeah.
It's like launching you.
KR texts in and says Connor Brown is the short-handed assassin. What do you seeing from Connor Brown that
It's almost like he had a major injury and now he's starting to work his way back
Well, how
after
about
getting some
that?
confidence. Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure this Connor Brown
Yep.
is what he's been known for. That's what his game has been all about. And so obviously this guy comes back from a massive injury that takes some time to get back into the swing of things. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
He doesn't score a goal. There's frustration. There's more stuff piling on top of him. Feels it. But honestly, since he scored that first goal, look where his game's gone.
Yeah,
He's been a different player.
And Tom and I talked about this yesterday. It's been 20 months since he tore the ACL. And
Steve was there that game.
And I was there in Washington when that happened, kind of a freak accident sort of play. It takes that long to be back to being himself.
Yeah.
And then for a player who relies on his speed the way Connor Brown does, like obviously he got dragged a lot during the season for lack of production, but he was less than a year for a long time from this injury, and like a little after longer than a year. It takes a while to come back from a serious knee injury like that, and now we're finally seeing that pre-injury sort of Connor Brown for the first time since then.
The Brown that they thought they signed is starting to show up.
Yeah,
With the bonus.
with the bonus and the cap hit. Good point.
But okay, so you have the bonus now, and you've got Connor Brown playing the way he is. Is he worth all of that?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people were texting into the post-game show. Totally worth it.
Yeah.
All is well. Great signing. What about next? I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but like, would he take a discount to stay here next year? Like, at $1 million, him and Janmark. Do you like that?
I like it.
Do you think it
I
happens?
think you're trying to race to sign him because I think he's been an unbelievable addition to the hockey team. Yes, he's had his struggles throughout the year. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
But now that he's kind of back and he's comfortable and he's playing again, he's got his confidence back and his body's right again.
Yeah.
I'd be signing that guy yesterday.
I think he'd want to sign.
Yeah.
He'd want to resign because, well, of course, in the final, I mean, and then just finding some chemistry. He's finally getting back on his horse and playing. He's there with his old teammate, Connor McDavid. Like, life seems good for Connor Brown now. There was a lot of rough parts of the season, but as you guys have said, it finally came around for him. And I don't think he can ask for too much money. Now he has a bonus, and he got a bunch of money already.
He got paid
So-
handsomely this year.
So yeah, maybe what, $1 million, $1.25 or something.
That'd be great. Steve, do you think that's realistic?
I think he's comfortable here, right?
Yeah.
I think this is a good situation for him.
Yep.
And there's hockey's full of teams doing favors for players, whether it's a trade or whatever. And Connor Brown, I think, is going to get that bonus money now.
Yeah.
I think whatever he made this year, if he's basically made whole on a deal, I think it's got to be a multi-year deal.
Oh, okay.
I think I think if you're Connor Brown, you say, I'll come back, but I'm not signing a 1 year again. I did 1 year for you. This is going to be a 2 or 3 year contract now. Like, I want to stay.
But it's gotta be
like,
a
I want to
modest
buy a
price.
house here. I don't want to rent.
Yeah.
I want to buy. I think if I'm Connor Brown and his agent, I'm going to the team and saying, this is great. I feel comfortable here, but this is a multi-year agreement now.
So a 2-3 year deal at maybe 1.5?
I think
per?
between 1.5 and 2.
Yeah.
I mean, look, this team has to, and I know we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but
Sure.
Jack Campbell has to be bought out.
Yeah, that situation needs to be taken
And the
care of.
money that goes from that Jack Campbell buyout goes to Connor Brown.
I like the depth he provides. If he keeps playing the way he's playing, might be a good thing.
Who's making these decisions is the question. And I know this is very inside baseball,
Yeah.
but Kenny Holland is retiring.
Yes.
Jeff Jackson is running the show. Who's the general manager?
Great question.
So like for very like how the sausage is made, as we're sitting there watching the third period last night, I have my Oilers win story on one page, I have my Oilers lose story on one page, and the Oilers lose story is that now the offseason's coming very quickly for this team. Win or
Like
lose.
next week, regardless.
Like no matter what happens,
Yeah.
July 25th, whatever, whenever the series is over, like there's going to be decisions to be made, big ones. I mean,
Yeah.
Jeff Jackson's going to have to hire a GM. He's going to figure out what to do with the Jack Campbell buyout, what to do with Connor Brown, what to do with a Leon Draisaitl and an Evan Bouchard contract. There's a lot of business to be done very quickly.
So I was listening to you guys on my way here, and we were talking, and you brought up Bouchard with the 10.
Which I don't think is going to happen. I don't think it's 10.
I don't think he's worth 10.
Neither do I.
But I ask myself, okay, if you look at the way guys and contracts are going, how does Bouchard not ask for 10?
He can ask for it.
How does he not get it?
By nobody saying you're getting 10 million. They see through Like, this is inflated offense due to the fact that he's on a historically good power play.
But that's what they did with Carlson. Carlson's basically the same player.
And then that's exactly why I thought the 8x8 is a good starting point.
Yeah.
Like the 8x8 contract is exactly. And look, if the Oilers come back and win this series in a historic whatever, it's the same thing. Capitals, after John Carlson helped them win a championship in 2018, gave him that contract.
Right.
So Cap's gone up a little bit since then. You give him a little bit of the kind of the inflation boost. It winds up being what's 8 times 8.5 or 8.25 or whatever. I think that's
Or
the
you just give him
contract.
the same money as Darnell and call it a day.
Because
Because I can't see Bouchard saying, you know what, like I'm worth less than Darnell Nurse. I can't see him saying that.
no, and his representation would be correct about that, given the way that they've the way that each of them have played in this
100%.
season.
What are you writing right now, by the way?
I'm writing the Jacob Markstrom trade.
You are doing- okay,
We've
for the
confirmed
AP.
that. It sounds like
Kevin Ball and a first?
Kevin Ball and a 2025 first round pick.
Wow.
Kevin Ball just at the moment being notified about the trade. That's just why it kind of sort of slow to come out.
Gotcha.
But that seems like that's the return. They did not have to give up Simone Nemec, the
Right.
top defense prospect.
Yep.
That I think was one of the sticking points in the conversations between Craig Conroy and Tom Fitzgerald of kind of what level prospect needs to move to make this happen. And Craig Conroy is cleaning house in Calgary, and this is another step toward the rebuild. And Dustin Wolf, I guess, in net, right?
That's a leap. Like, and he jumps in his pregame routine, which is so bad pun. I apologize. I don't know how you go to Dustin Wolf and be like, hey man, you're the starter now. You kind of showed you can play in the NHL, great AHL goalie, but that is a huge burden for him. And the Shimon Nemec, like he quickly arrived this year. I know he was playing.
He's a nice player, man.
Yeah, was he in Albany? Are they still in Albany? The Devils
Albany
farm
Devils,
team?
yeah.
Yeah, and then got up.
Binghamton, Albany.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it's Binghamton.
Might be big.
Kevin Dineen's the coach there.
Yeah, but he got called up like I think November-ish.
Yeah.
Never went back, and he was a good defenseman.
He was so I was at that Beijing Olympics in 2022 when Slavkovsky and Nemec both played for that Slovak
Right.
team that won a bronze medal, the first hockey medal of any kind for that country. And Slavkovsky was the MVP of the tournament. Like he was insane, became the number one pick as a result. We're starting to see that, but like Nemec was a solid 20-minute a night, like top 4 defenseman at 17 years old in that tournament.
That's good that they didn't have to part ways with him.
It's good for the Devils. Yeah, this to me is a good trade really good trade for the New Jersey Devils. We'll see what it means for the Flames.
I look at the Flames now, and I'm just like, my goodness, they're stripping this thing down to the studs here.
Yeah, they are. They have to though. You got to restart this the franchise. You got a lot of guys that were there that decided, hey, we don't want to be here anymore, and the best thing you can possibly do is just bring in new players and kind of restart. So it sucks because I really enjoy when there's a Battle of Alberta and both teams are good. I think it's awesome for the province of Alberta. I think it's actually great for hockey when there's that rivalry.
True.
But here we are. They have to go through that cycle, unfortunately.
And then look, teams go through. And Jim Nill says this all the time. Like there's a cycle of a rebuild, tear down, which kind of like the Sharks and the Flames are doing.
Yep.
And then there's sort of the rebuilding sort of period where the Flyers teams are kind of at now. And then you've got trying to contend and contending, and then championship contending. And and so the Oilers are at that championship contending level, and the Flames are on kind of the downside of still tearing it down.
Yep.
And it's not a great job that Mike Grier has to do in San Jose or Craig Conroy has to do in Calgary, or even Kyle Davidson in Chicago had to do this, like where you tear it down and you hope that you win a lottery, you draft smart, you make the right moves, and within 3 to 5 years you're contending again. I know, it's hard. It's hard sometimes for fans to kind of comprehend it because you want your team to win all the time, right? And people love prospects and all that, but there is a cyclical nature to all of this. And bad teams stay bad by messing up drafts, by making bad trades, whatever it is. And good teams stay good by winning those sort of things. Tom Fitzgerald seems like he made a really good trade right here for the Devils. They're going to put them back in a playoff mix in that Metropolitan Division where the Capitals are probably going to start falling off soon. The Penguins are going to have fallen off and that sort of thing. That puts them right there with the Rangers and maybe the Islanders.
This is going to be interesting. And then one more thing, is Dan Vladar still going to stick around? He might be the other netminder.
Yeah, he would be Vladar and
Wolf, yeah. So
he's under contract, I believe.
yeah. And He's all right. Vladar's all right from what I've seen.
He's a really good 1B sort of
Right.
goaltender, quality backup in this league. But they're not going to win a whole lot of games next year.
No. And it's crazy how quickly it's crumbled because in 2022, the Flames were the best team in the Western Conference. And it's just imploded. The Huberdeau contract, not great. What?
Does this not show how good Matthew Tkachuk is?
Yeah,
like,
it does.
And not nothing away from Johnny Gaudreau either, because he also left. But
Yeah.
Matthew Tkachuk was part of the Flames being one of the best teams in the NHL. Then he gets traded, and Florida becomes one of the best teams in the NHL. And Calgary is left to pick up the pieces and figure it out. Like we talked about Matthew Tkachuk a lot yesterday about how quiet he was in the series, how great he was last night. But like it shows the value of a player like that.
Yeah. People here hate him still, but that is true.
He's a
if
really
you
good
look past that, he's a very effective player.
Here's a hypothetical for you. If this trade never happens, is Florida here?
No, absolutely not. And the two things got Florida here, in my opinion, two major things. And Dale Talon deserves a little bit of credit for a lot of players he brought in there because they only have 3 players on their whole roster who were drafted by the Panthers.
Right.
So it took signing Sergei Bobrovsky and trade for Sam Reinhart and all these things. But hiring Paul Maurice after they had Joel Quenneville, and then you had the Chicago situation where he had to resign.
Right.
And Andrew Burnett, who is now kind of, I think, really much better in his second job than he was in his first.
Yeah.
He kind of took that team on an autopilot. And when we got to the playoffs, he got outcoached like heck by John Cooper in that playoff series. And Bill Zito said, we can't do this. Called Paul Maurice, brought him in, and he's turned this team into a playoff beast. And he goes out and gets Matthew Tkachuk for Mackenzie Weegar and Jonathan Huberdeau. And those 2 moves, in my opinion, are why the Florida Panthers have made the Cup Final 2 years in a row.
They are a hell of a hockey team.
Yeah, they are.
Hell of a hockey team. What say you? 780-218-9999. Text us. The Paris Jewelers inbox. It's the EST Hangout. Tom Gazzola, Shawn Belle, Stephen Whyno from the Associated Press, and Zachticum. What do you got?
Mid writing a story.
He's literally writing a story right now about the trade that the New Jersey Devils made to pick up Jacob Markstrom from the Calgary Flames for Kevin Ball and a first rounder in 2025. Okay, there we go.
And Kevin Ball, he's left shot, 23-year-old defenseman. He played
very tall.
very tall, very
Incredibly tall. I think I want to say 6'7".
Is he?
Wow.
It's a 6 foot something. And then to 82 games played this season, 1 goal, 10 assists.
Where?
11 points in New Jersey. Kevin Ball.
He did. Okay.
6'6".
Yeah.
6'6".
6'6", only a 6'6", like nice and, not that tall.
Tiny.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is someone texted in prices for Game 6 here in Edmonton. Upper Bowl, center ice-ish, 4,600.
That's wild.
Jason in Leduc says, oh, well, interest rate is crap anyway. Might as well blow the money I've been saving for a down payment. Am I right? Yeah. Oh, man.
Darren Dreger just tweeted over 30% retained for the Flames
Oh,
on Markstrom.
on
there.
Markstrom. So that's even better for the Devils. Northside Sandwich says that Markstrom trade looks like a win-win. Flames lose the cap hit of Markstrom, get first rounder, and Devils get a goalie they could actually win with. Wow, that Oilers series win really broke the Flames. That's crazy.
It almost seems like it really did. Like that was the catalyst. It probably deep down it probably wasn't, but man, it sure looks like that.
Just a dismantling of them.
That's what's happened since, right?
Yeah.
The Oilers have kept winning and earn a Cup Final, and the Flames are in that rebuilding mode.
Down to the studs. Meg says, give Calgary Jack Campbell. Thank you, Megan. If only it was that easy, but I think it'd be great.
I think Jeff Jackson would drive him to the airport. Would drive him all the way to Calgary. I mean, forget the airport. By the time you get to the airport, you're halfway to Calgary anyway.
He would get him a charter to Calgary just to get him out of here.
Well, he could be either on the Red Arrow bus with me on Saturday.
Oh. You guys could be seat buddies.
So Pierre LeBrun tweeted full trade details.
There we go.
Kevin Ball, first round pick of 2025, top 10 protected for Markstrom with 31.25% retained on his remaining contract, which has 2 more years.
Nice.
So that's the
full shebang.
details. So top 10 protected means if it's in the top 10, what happens with the pick? Or
Then it defers to a 2026 pick.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Top 10 protected for 2025, and then there's usually conditions on that. Whether if it is a top 10, it would be moved to 2026.
Oh, the fine print.
Man, oh man, this is crazy. This is
Alberta
crazy.
hockey news.
We're all over it.
Commander story yesterday on the air with you, and now I've got a Flames Devils trade.
While on air, you've written. Well, now this is your third story.
Correct.
Because what on the pregame that was.
And then
two,
post game
and
yesterday was doing Oilers drag the series back to Alberta.
You're a beast.
Busy guy.
It's just
Just another day from Steve.
Unreal.
this is the job.
Yeah. How many radio hits do you have after this show today?
No, just you.
Well, you just declined them because you did this. You did 2 hours. You're gonna be good.
And I have a fun interview to do when we get off the air here.
Oh, perfect. Yes. Who are you talking to?
Talking to Tim Shipton from the Oilers about Indigenous outreach and what the Oilers have done in the
Excellent.
First Nations community. So
Excellent.
read about that later on apnews.com.
Love it.
Good plug. There you go. Whyno just hustling. He's grinding. He's an Edmontonian now. Love it. Absolutely love it. Okay. We've got, 20 minutes left or so. Keep those texts coming in. 780-218-9999. How's the nasty chat going?
It's good. It's buzzing. They don't want to talk about the Chuck at all, which
Okay,
is
we
fine.
can drop
and
that.
I get that.
We can drop that.
But outside of that, no, it's good.
So soccer, hey? No,
What about
Euros.
it? No,
Yeah.
who cares? Not today.
Not a soccer guy.
Awanik's gone. Not today.
We're not
There will be
talking
no
about it today.
soccer talk whatsoever today on the show. I don't want to go to sleep. I want to stay awake, so we're not talking. I'm sorry, soccer fans. It's just not today. Whatever.
Here goes
Euros,
nasty
Copa
chat.
America.
Tommy's going to start blowing it up with this soccer talk. So
No, not a chance in hell. All right, Belzy. Okay, what do you,
oh man.
if you're an Edmonton Oiler, you're coming back to town, how are you staying focused with how crazy it's going to be around here?
Well, it's as simple as we got to win to stay in. What's that show back in the day?
Minute to win it?
No. It was like that. It was a Japanese show where they don't get eliminated or whatever.
Most extreme elimination challenge?
And their line was "Don't get eliminated."
Yes.
That's how they think.
I love that show. It was on Spike.
Such a good show.
Yeah, what was it was like Vic Romano and Kenny Blankenship were the hosts.
Exactly.
And they were wearing
Yes,
kimonos, and
yes.
you're like, this is hilarious. They're not whatever they were saying in Japanese on the actual show. They're not being dubbed properly, and it was the best.
Yeah, it was the greatest
Did you ever
show
see
ever.
the show?
No.
Most
Oh,
extreme
yeah, you gotta YouTube
MXC. Whyno, do you
That's
remember
my
that
I
homework
do
show?
not
after
remember
this.
this at all.
Oh, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
But yeah, that was their line. It was like, "Don't get eliminated."
Don't get eliminated.
That is what the Oilers are thinking right now. Come back. There's no pressure. It's for them. They have to win to stay alive.
Yeah.
They want to try to get back down to Florida so that they have an opportunity to win the Stanley Cup. So you're coming here. You're embracing the challenge. You are using the fans and how electric it is to help fuel you even more.
Yeah.
And you play desperate hockey, and that's what you have to do. And if they can do that, I think they're going to give themselves the best chance to win. See you giggling right now.
Because you've just opened up a can of worms with MXC. A lot of people are remembering it. So Kenny Blankenship and Vic Romano, who are the play-by-play guys, and they're Japanese guys in kimonos, and then a lot of people are reminding us of the sideline reporter Guy Ledoux.
Yes.
And he would always be in a suit, and he had like a
man.
safari hat on.
Yes, he did. That
Yeah,
was
and he'd be
so
like, hello,
good.
guys. Guy Ledoux here.
That's my homework after this. I'm checking
One
that
guy's
out.
like, Kevin, he's like, or Ken, sorry, he's like, giant green tea bag.
Yes.
What?
And they had the most gnarly wipeouts,
Oh,
too.
man.
Like,
I think
so-
you have to sign a waiver
course.
behind the scenes. Like, you don't sue us if you get hurt. And I think people are legitimately getting hurt on that thing.
Of course they were. They're dropping 20 feet, bouncing off of like an obstacle and into water.
You know what's one of the funniest ones was they have like that platform, and it's like probably the platform's this big, and they got to walk across facing this wall.
Yeah.
And then the wall, they've got all these different things that are coming out, and people would get like drilled in the face, like from like a punching bag.
Yeah.
Like or a boxing glove. They fall into the water. I'm like, this is the greatest thing
so
I've
good.
ever
It's crazier
seen.
than Wipeout.
Yeah, well, I think Wipeout is like based on
yeah,
it.
is exactly what it was.
So MXC, have you ever played the video game Fall Guys?
Yeah.
It's like real life Fall Guys.
I need to go back and watch some of these.
It's incredible. Like,
Probably on YouTube.
Oh my goodness. Andrew's like, I would always watch MXC after church as a kid. I loved that show. It was hilarious, and it was always on. You just have to put it on Spike. Northside Sandwich says loved MXC. and Corey B, who I think brought in some whistle dogs, by the way.
Yeah.
Whyno wants to go to A&W after. I think Corey B brought some whistle dogs.
Hold the
You know what
relish.
a whistle dog is?
I don't.
So, the Nielsen show. What do you?
What's the?
So A&W had a thing called the whistle dog back in the day. It's a hot dog with bacon, cheese, and relish and ketchup.
Hold the relish. Well,
Hold the
usually
relish.
it's with relish, but it's a cut hot dog,
Yeah,
so
sliced.
it's split,
Yeah.
and then bacon, cheese.
What do you have against this?
You don't get a hot dog from A&W. That
Well,
is
I mean-
disgusting.
I mean, I that's not what I would order.
Exactly my point. So you
a good
walk
hot
up to A&W, you're like, I want a whistle dog, please. Like, people should look at you like you're crazy. Nobody orders that. You get hot dogs at baseball games, football games potentially, at the
Barbecues.
turn,
Barbecues.
barbecue,
Barbecues,
at
yeah,
the
dog.
turn in golf.
At the turn.
At the turn at golf,
You get
you
that
get it?
pork missile in you.
And in barbecues. That is it. That is all.
I have no. I can't disagree.
Steve, I think there's a whistle dog waiting for you.
There might
your
be,
name on
compliments
it.
of
there
Corey
might be
B.
a glizzy back there waiting for you.
Oh boy.
Corey B is an AM nasty, and he's got an EST tattoo. Got that a couple months ago here in studio during the hangout. That was crazy, and nice enough to bring some whistle dogs down to our global HQ.
And I think Nash in White Court, I think it's his handle. He texted in. I think he came here with burgers as well.
Really? I'm
there's
I
sorry.
can
burgers
get
and
behind
dogs.
that.
Okay.
Burgers are great.
Yeah.
I like the whistle dogs.
The chicken burger has usually been my order
At A&W?
A&W.
Well, you might have a glizzy, aka whistle dog. Also,
Stop it.
what?
I hate that.
Gager, horrible take, Belsey. It's not a horrible take. You don't let glizzies go from A&W, man.
Joaquin, by the way,
Yeah.
I don't know if Joaquin Gage, one of our analysts, Steve, former Oilers netminder, for his daughter's dance, works at the concession at Commonwealth Stadium for CFL games, for the Elks games, and like he hooks us up. If we're hungry, we go see him at his concession, and he makes these great burgers and hot dogs, and he'll
At
hook
a
up the
football
TSN
game?
at the football game.
100%.
Football game's fine.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So this is okay for Belsey. He's given it his blessing. But Gager does his own like special burgers and dogs, and he hooks us up, which is great. And it's funny when we go to Joaquin, whatever concession he's working, he's like, I'm at number 7 today. I'm at number 5. And you go there, and there's always older ladies that work there. And we'll be like, hey, is Joaquin Gage back there? And they'll always be like, Joaquin, your friends are here. And they're always so put off by it. Hurry up, Joaquin.
Joaquin's in the back with a glizzy tickling the back of his throat.
What? Clip that.
And then he has to come around the corner, mouthful. Hey boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a care package, which is so good.
This got off the rails real quick.
It's the hangout. This is
got
what
off the rails
happens.
really
Oh,
quick.
man. That's what you get, Joaquin, for coming in this thing.
Got into the nasty
Yeah, you
chat.
got in the nasty chat.
Gager on Two Guys in a Goalie tomorrow, and he's on the hangout tomorrow as well, which is going to be great. Also, I want to finish this thought with the whistle dog. So there was like a mini documentary made. The Nielsen show on our old station, TSN 1260, which you were on before, Lieutenant Eric and Dusty would just talk about the whistle dog so much that they were included in a mini doc about the whistle dog and A&W bringing it back.
Seriously?
Seriously.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
Is this like your guys' version of like the McRib and McDonald's?
Kind of,
like,
yeah.
Like this is like this fascination.
Yeah, pretty much. And
Great.
so they caught wind of it at A&W, and they included the guys in the documentary.
The hot documentary.
The hot documentary. They had the A&W guy come in. I can't remember his name. He's in the commercials with the Jays right now. And yeah, he was in the studio with the boys, and he's like, we're bringing the whistle dog back. So the whistle dog is back right now, and Corey B brought some in, which is great. And this just spurred a huge conversation about glizzies and tube steaks, pork missiles, whatever else you want to call
Well,
them.
isn't that is the glizzy is a nickname for hot dog?
Yeah.
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 I didn't know that until a few months ago. I think you
really?
dropped it on.
I think I dropped it on.
Yeah,
right?
and I was like,
yeah.
what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So I'm. This is not that this has
this
anything to do
real
with whistle
stuff?
dogs. This has to do with the Flames are retaining 31.2%
Okay.
of Jacob Markstrom's salary. So I'm filing a story on this trade.
31.2.
So that's 1.87 million of his $6 million cap hit on their books for the next 2 years. Jersey gets him at bargain price.
Okay, can we talk about hot dogs now?
Yeah, we got to talk about
Joey
yeah.
Chestnut.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's nothing that had nothing to do with Whistle Dog, so I apologize.
Fancy 5 centsy. Bellsy. That's why you get a whistle dog and a buddy burger on the side.
Ooh, that's a
like
deadly
that. I like the
combination. I like that. Nash and Whitecourt says, I left some whistle dogs at the front. Make Bellsy eat one. Nash and Whitecourt, that's so good. Sorry, Bell. From Corey B.
Burgers next time. Attaboy, Corey B.
All right. John the Breadman says, the whistle dog was my dad's favorite when I was a kid, but it's because it was 99 cents when the burgers were $3, $7.99 for a whistle dog now is insane. Bones says Glizzy is a stupid name.
100% it is.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
I don't disagree, but I'm going to say it every time.
Pork missile was a new one for me.
Pork missile is a weird one, too.
I love pork missile.
Just call it a dog or hot dog or wiener.
No, not a, no.
It's a pork missile.
It's a glizzy.
Yeah, because it makes you makes you think about it. MXC text coming in. Meg's texting in again.
Spoiler alert: Awanik's legs are also called glizzies.
He's not even here to defend himself.
He's probably watching though. Megan says, MXC falling into that literal sewage water. Thanks for bringing back those memories, fellas. Back when life was great, mortgages weren't even a thought. And thanks for the laugh with that Jeff Jackson comment. Nicely done. One more MXC text that came in says, the best was when they had to catch objects that were latched way in the air and they had to catch them. Yeah, there was some ridiculous wipeouts on MXC. Yep. They had to wear like jumpsuits with a helmet and they're all in matching. It was like human version of Fall Guys. That's what MXC was.
I'm gonna go binge watch this now. This sounds amazing.
English dubbed over the Japanese, and you're like, what is going on? And then you're watching and you're going, I wonder what they're actually talking about in Japanese. Like if I had the actual translation rather than this over the top ridiculous American English comedic takes that these guys are throwing at, but which were hilarious.
Yeah.
It might have been hardcore analysis of what was happening.
It could have been.
Did you ever watch Iron Chef with that?
No.
The cooking show? That was
I remember
it was in Japanese, and so they'd have to dub in over that. And it was cooking, and it was and that was Iron Chef America, which is all in English. But
right.
Very similar sort of thing.
Yeah, and you're like, what the hell is this? This is crazy. Anyway.
One show that I always remember, one of those like wacky shows where you got to do stuff that you might get hurt. Probably will get hurt, but Hole in the Wall. I think they ran for like 2 seasons. It was basically there's this like styrofoam wall where you would be on a platform. On each side there's water, and on the back there's water. So if you don't, you have to stand there and like put your body in a certain shape and contort yourself to fit through the wall in the hole.
Yeah.
And then you get knocked. Yeah, I don't know. I always loved that one. It was only like 1 or 2 seasons on. Don't remember what platform, but people would always like wipe out. They'd wear helmets and the weird spandex suits or whatever. Or
I do remember that. On MXC, they also had like the Velcro wall, and you'd have to swing and stick. And I don't know, they didn't have like a scoring system on the Velcro pads, but you always wondered like, did they do good on that? Because you have no idea genuinely. And I don't know, like, did you have to stick the highest? I can't remember.
Give it a 10.
Yeah.
And half of them would just bounce off that wall and just right into the water.
And fold in half and fall into the water, yeah.
Is this like American Gladiators but with regular people?
Yes, you're going to have to show you
way
some
more
clips of
outrageous.
MX. It's
way
insane.
more outrageous.
And remember when, like, they would go to do the course or whatever, and, like, you'd have, like, a young lady go up there, and they would have... And they'd be like, yeah, let's go. And that's what they'd be saying probably in Japanese and on the original audio. But then they'd say something like, my dog has fleas. And they would go do the thing. Like, it was just insane. Like, oh, okay, let's get back on track here. Let's go to Rams
So
fan.
good.
Rams fan says, Jersey won that trade by a landslide, salary retained and top 10 pick protected. Only giving up Ball and a first is not much when you consider the market for a starting goalie. What happens to like Ullmark and Saros now?
Well, that's the question. Where does this set a market for goalies? Markstrom signed for 2 more years. Saros has 1 year left. Ullmark has 1 year left, I believe.
Yeah, and he didn't want to go to LA.
And he did not waive his no trade to go to LA.
Isn't that crazy?
Look, Ullmark and the Leafs make sense if they can't get Saros. Like,
right.
would the Bruins and would would Don Sweeney and Brad Living want to make that trade? I don't know. But there's only certain number of teams right now looking for a goalie where the pieces fit. And the Bruins could certainly run it back with Allmark and Swayman if they want to. Like
Right.
they can easily just keep him. The Predators could do the same with UC Saros and take another run or extend him and trade Askarov. There's a lot of different. None of these goalies have to move. Now Jacob Markstrom had to go because the Flames had to, but like John Gibson and the Ducks, like they're kind of stagnated, I guess, a little bit now.
Fair point.
I'm fascinated what Pat Verbeek's going to do with Trevor Zegras, but that's not a goalie trade discussion. Zegras, Gibson, Cam Fowler, like anything not nailed down in Anaheim certainly could go. But what is the market now that a first round pick and Kevin Ball? I'm talking to my New Jersey colleague who was able to confirm the trade, saying like Kevin Ball's a nice player, like 23 years old, 6'6", like can kill penalties, like he's a good building block for that team, and they didn't really have room for him in Jersey. But a pick and a prospect becomes the price for Allmark, price for Saros, price for maybe a John Gibson if these guys are going to move this summer, or maybe the next week, maybe the next hour, who knows?
Honestly, though, and especially if Toronto does get into that trade talk, you know that there's going to be some pieces moving, so that might even up it even more.
Oh yeah, I mean
for goaltenders because that this is the basement price now.
And Brad Living says that Joe Woll is the guy, and we're going to supplement around that. You get a guy like a David Riddick or a Dan Vladar sort of player to play with Joe Woll, and you put that money elsewhere. But if you think you need a goaltender there's some interesting options available. I think the looks like the Wild are going to trade Philip Gustafsson as well. They got to make room for Jesper Wallstedt, their goalie prospect,
right?
Who's going to play with Marc-Andre Fleury. So there's some bargain options, and then there's the shopping in the Whole Foods, like the real premium sort of goalie market.
No Glizzies there.
But then you have some options. Darcy Kemper is available for anyone who would like to take on that contract from the Washington Capitals.
There you go, Caps beat reporter.
They also have to make room for Clay Stevenson, their goalie on the way up.
Yep.
Charlie Lindgren had a very nice season. Carried them, and dragged them into the playoffs. And so Darcy Kemper, if anyone wants him at a $5 million plus cap hit, is available.
No, thank you.
I know, and Brian McClellan has an interesting challenge of trying to do that. But the goalies are hard to trade. Like very, very rarely, Jake Allen moved at the deadline, but very rarely do we see goalies traded at the trade deadline because it's hard to gauge the value. It's the most important position in the sport. But also, like, what is the value? Some teams have won spending no money on goaltending, and some have won with Andrei Vasilevsky or Sergei Bobrovsky, these sort of guys, where you're spending a lot of money. And then the next couple of weeks are going to be very busy.
Hey, a name you brought up that I want to ask you about and your take on, and Belsey too, and obviously Zachticum, Zegras. Why is he not a pillar in Anaheim? Why is his name out there? Why might he be on the move?
I don't think that organization is a fan of Trevor Zegras right now, and they would love for him to round out his game and not be a one-dimensional sort of offensive player. Injured last year, kind of, I don't know if that hurt his value at all, but there's going to be a team that sees value in what he does offensively and think they can fix the rest of his game. But for when you're trying to build those building blocks of an organization, I think Pat Verbeek would like more sort of well-rounded players to be part of that. Cutter Gauthier is coming in there now and might be that sort of player after how great he was at the World Juniors, wouldn't sign with the Philadelphia Flyers. Will get booed every time he goes into that building for the rest of his career. But there's no doubting Trevor Zegras' talent. It's just you need an organization who thinks they can harness what he does offensively and do some more things. All the time we see players where they do one thing really well. Anthony Duclair is the kind of player you want him to turn into, right? Like Anthony Duclair was a very one-dimensional sort of scoring forward, and now he can do it all. Like he's going to get paid very well in free agency this summer by someone, and I think a team will want to turn Trevor Zegras into that, but he's not that yet.
Good point.
A lot of flash, not a lot of substance yet, and I think that's one of the problems that Pat Verbeek and the Ducks have with him.
And they had a tough contract negotiation last summer.
Does that extend to off the ice as well? That exact same comment you just threw?
The flash?
The flash.
Yeah, I think there's still, and you know this, in the hockey culture of wanting to be more about the team than individual. He was on the video game cover, these sort of like the Michigan, these sort of kind of flashy things.
Lots of pop there.
There's still a very old school hockey mentality in a lot of organizations that they don't want to see that. And look, that's nothing. I don't think Trevor Zegras is a bad teammate in any way. I don't think there's anything wrong personally with that. But if you want someone who is going to be the grinded out, will over skill sort of player, he's not that right now. But he can certainly grow into it.
Yeah, I just the reason I asked that question is because I look at the fact that he's extremely young, extremely talented, and I say, okay, well, Anaheim, like, you have the building blocks to be a good team down the road. So teams don't necessarily get rid of guys at that age with that skill set if there isn't something going on behind the scenes.
But look at what Chicago is an example is too. They traded Kirby Dach at a very young age.
Yeah. That's fair.
To bottom out and wound up getting Connor Bedard, and now you could really use having a Kirby Dach.
100%. So maybe a little bit different scenario though, because they wanted to be worse than what they were. So they got rid of Kirby Dach. Anaheim's like going up now.
Are they? And that's the weird place that they're in right now is they were a pretty decent team a couple of years ago, and Pat Verbeek takes over for Bob Murray, and all of a sudden they're sort of in a tear it down and also sort of rebuild mode.
Yeah.
I still think they're in that transition period, which is why John Gibson might
be out.
benefit from a change of scenery, because if you're trying to do the bottoming out sort of thing in Anaheim now and then build up, you want to build a new core, and it's Cutter Gauthier, and it's not going to be Cam Fowler anymore. It's not going to be Trevor Zegras potentially if they move him this summer or move him in the next few days. That I think that they're in a weird place. Like we were talking about cycles of winning and rebuilding, whatever. Anaheim's in a very weird spot where I'm not quite sure what direction that organization's going in. Where are you trying to contend by 2026, 27? Or are you trying to do a kind of a longer term build here?
Because you'd have Mason McTavish would be there, Cutter Gauthier would be there. You'd have Zegras if he sticks around. Like you've got some legitimate pieces.
When they traded Josh Manson to Colorado, they got a good prospect for him as well. Same thing I believe from Tampa when they made a trade with them. So
yeah, they've been getting really good pieces, and so like when I was watching this team last year when the Oilers would play, I'm like, they've got good speed, they've got good skill. Like they're obviously a few pieces away, but then it goes to that question. Okay, well, you've got now your core kind of group put together. Do you now try to insulate them with some veteran players that can help, build the culture that you want moving forward? Like, what does that look like if you're the Ducks? Because we've seen it in Edmonton. Well, Decade of Darkness, you had Hall and Eberle and Nugent Hopkins, and there was a time where they were starting to try to put some veteran players in there to help build and mold these guys, but I don't necessarily think they put the right veteran players in, nor do I think they had enough of them. Because that, like, if I look at the Crosby situation when he walked in the league, well, obviously Mario had come back. They put him with Mario and said, okay, you're going to do everything that this guy does and then some. But then they went out and their team was veteran laden. And it was almost impossible for him not to be like, okay, well, this is a culture that when I move forward, when I become the top guy, that this is how it's going to be.
Is that not Alex Killorn for the Ducks? I mean, like,
that's part of it, 100%.
They went out and got Alex Killorn, guy won a couple of championships in a row, and long-term guy Ryan Strome, another player who's made long playoff runs. I think those are the kind of sort of veteran glue guy players that are Anaheim's starting to add there.
Yeah. And it was Boston. Boston was the same way when Patrice Bergeron came in.
Amazing that this show that started talking about Game 6 of the Cup Final ends with Anaheim Ducks rebuild discussions.
with some whistle dog.
Well,
And Whistle Dog in there. And MXC.
MXC, yeah, it was great. We broke a trade out here. We talked about it. Steve wrote an article. It's been a crazy hangout. That's the beauty.
This is just every day.
Just another day on the hangout. I'm going to wrap it up. We do have to do the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival entry as well as a couple of texts. And Steve, you got this question a couple of times. One more time from Aiden, who says, any speculation on who the band could be for Friday's game, Steve?
I don't think there's going to be a concert.
That's right.
Unless there's a crazy Nickelback appearance, that a surprise appearance, they don't schedule for the if necessary games.
That's
so I don't
right.
think a pregame concert.
There you go. So probably no band. We'll see if that changes. They have a day to get something secured if they're going to do that. I don't know if they left the stage up there too. Maybe they did.
I think they tore it down.
They tore it down. Okay,
Snoop Dogg was playing at the arena, so they had to tear down all the media setup for us.
And then they got to put it all back together.
Put it all back up. Because there's a Game 6 on Friday night.
Yeah. Menopause Nick. Hey, boys. Just a heads up. My wife is stopping by to pick up my Mr. Mike's gift card I won a few months ago. I would have gone a while ago, but I haven't had time with work. Hey, Menopause Nick. Congratulations with the next young Menopause Nick on the way. And they just had their first, not that long ago. So very efficient Menopause
Nice.
Nick.
Congrats.
Yeah, there you go. You've got another one on the way, you and Linz. That's fantastic. Also, let's get to the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival entry. The Great Outdoors Comedy Festival coming to Edmonton July 12th to 14th at Kinsman Park, featuring Shane Gillis, Andrew Schultz, Kevin Hart, Bert Kreischer, Whitney Cummings, and more. For tickets, visit www.greatoutdoorscomedyfestival.com and watch for our partners over at Alley Cat to be the exclusive beer sponsor of the event, featuring Steve's new favorite beer, the 6 O'Clocker Lager. Text in to 780-218-9999, the keyword to get in on the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. VIP tickets for 4. Glizzy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Glizzy is your keyword. A winner will be picked, and you'll be in for the draw for VIP table for 4 at the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. Alley Cat beer, 3 beers that will be available, including the 6 O'Clocker Lager. Glizzy is your keyword. GLIZZY, and in America, ZZY. Glizzy, 780-218-9999. Dave Jameson is here. Oh, my God. Wow. My goodness. That's going to do it for the EST Hangout. Look at this. We're getting a cameo from Dave. Hello, J-Bo. Oh, my goodness. This is amazing. This is amazing.
Lovely.
Want to interrupt creativity?
No. There's nothing creative up here. For Zachticum and Belzy and Steve Whyno, I'm Tom Gazzola saying thanks for tuning in to the Hangout, brought to you by 2 Hoots Hard Iced Tea. Don't give a hoot, give 2. The Lock Shop is next. We'll talk to you later on the oil stream. Talk to you tomorrow here on the Hangout. Ciao for now. Let's go. There you go, right in front of the camera.
First-time guest, long-time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanek, Tom Gazzola with here. Joining us today,